Mad Monster, Arizona. You were all my children now.
That movie is a shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. It's all theater of the mind. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. Cecil Laird is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. What's going on, everybody? It is, what is it? It's Wednesday, July the 12th, 2023, 6:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name's Dave McCrae, coming to you live from the Voice Span Studios in Toronto, Canada. One more time! Boom, 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 ba ba jinga bow wow, jam ba bow wow 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 wow. Yes, yes, yes! The summer is here! Dylan's New Nightmare had its advanced world premiere at the Mad Monster Convention in Arizona on last Friday. Mad Monster Arizona was over the weekend. Cecil and I will be talking about everything tonight. One more time! Boom, bam, ba ba beam, bow, wow, 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 wow. Yes, what's going on, everybody?
I love this song every single time it plays.
Every single time. Yes. Here we are, folks. One more time. No, that's it.
Shit.
No. That's enough. That's enough. So it's 38 minutes of just that. The first 38.
People would watch. People would watch.
They would watch. They would. They totally would watch. 38 minutes of just that. Here we are. It's Wednesday, July the 12th, 2023, 6:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:24 Pacific Time. Cecil, I am now back in Toronto. I was a whirlwind of a weekend this past weekend. The Mad Monster Arizona Convention. Of course, Mad Monster has another one in August in Carolina.
Yep.
They got the two.
Well, they have the one in August is, I think, the first year they're, well, maybe not the first year, but this is a separate one than they do in February each year. So Mad Monster North Carolina is in February, but this is the Mad Monster Expo, if I'm not mistaken. And that is one of the earlier editions of this particular branch of the con. And they've got some good guests. But anyway, yeah, this we got to do Mad Monster Arizona 2023. Mad Monster Arizona has been happening since 2014. We at the Horror Show have been covering it since then, and it just continues to be awesome.
Yeah. This was a very interesting experience for me. A lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Met some very nice people, saw some familiar faces. We have some funny stories to tell for sure. And it was a whirlwind. It was in and out and back home. And before I knew it, I was walking into my place Monday morning and it was like I hadn't left. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where it's like, did that weekend just happen? Or, because it's so quick.
It was the same after the shoot. Like the next day after the shoot, I felt like, okay, what do we got to get done today? And I was like, oh wait, we're done.
Well, it's funny because for you, I could see that. For me, the week in Arizona when we shot the film felt like I was there for a week because I was there for a week. But this, for me, was like I was in the weekend and then gone. You know what I mean? It was like, did that happen or did I dream that? Did that, because it was so fast. I mean, I don't even think it was, it was just over 48 hours. Like it wasn't, it wasn't very long.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true. Yeah, because you
quick.
were only there from Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
So but I like to think it was a worthwhile trip. We actually
Absolutely.
It's incredible how many of your viewers we actually got to meet, considering how far from your homestead that you were. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny. Yeah. It's ironic. I mean, obviously, I'm based here in Toronto, Canada. And I'm only an hour from the U.S. border, but I am here in Canada. But according to my Google Analytics, my YouTube Analytics, only about 5% of my viewers are Canadian. Now that's not 5% from Toronto. That's 5% Canadian. So that would be even less from this area, right? I mean, maybe most of it might be from this area because it's the most populated area of the country. But yeah, it's funny. Only 5% of my viewers are Canadian. Over 70 to 75% of my viewers are from the States. So it makes sense that would be the case. But it is really interesting. So yeah, before we jump into it, let me just first say a huge thank you to each and every one of you out there that came up to me at the table and said hello and made yourself known and shot the shit with me about whatever it was we were talking about and selfies and photos and pictures signed and all that kind of stuff. It was, like I said, it was a whirlwind. It was like you blink and it's done. But I want to just thank each and every one of you that came up to the table. Sincerely, it was really sweet to put faces to names. Edward Nito, shout out to my Godzilla brother from another mother. Edward Nito and his brother drove up from San Diego and they showed up. And so big shout out to Edward Nito. And of course to Davey Deathray. I think that's his name online. Davey Deathray. Shout out to you, my man, as well. He came up to me, I think it was on the Friday night. He came up to me at the table. I'm sitting there. So it was Ron Sloan and then Vince. They were at a table together. Then it was myself and Miko at a table together. And then it was the rest of the horror show kind of, we had like 5 or 6 tables. And Davey Deathray as is his screen name. I don't know if that's what he's going by with his new YouTube channel now, but he came up to me at the table and he was, I watch your stuff, big fan, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and I just want to let you know, I just became an associate producer on It's Me, Billy Chapter 2 today. And I was like, that's amazing. I was like, oh my God, that's what wonderful news to come up to me with, right? Because obviously our campaign is in demand, like, yours is. And so it was just really cool to, it was very nice to have you on board, and really nice to, shoot the shit with you and just hang out in the small time that we had. So gigantic shout out to everybody out there that made themselves known, that waved to me from a distance or came over to say hi or, whatever the case is. And I mean, there may have been a few people that were like, that's that Dave McCrae over there, that fucking piece of shit. But they didn't come up to say anything, as usually is always the case.
Yeah, they
don't have the testicles to do it. So, but yeah, no, everybody that came up was awesome. And it was just, it was cool. It was very nice to be able to engage with your viewers because you know what I look like, but I don't necessarily know what you look like. So, very nice and appreciative of that.
Yeah, it was a fun time being able to see these interactions. And, I mean, Vin had people coming up all weekend.
Yep.
Of course, Miko had people coming up all day, each day, basically, unless he wasn't there. And even then, people were coming up and asking Dave to be Miko or Vin to be Miko. We had a number of Mikos at our table, apparently.
Well, it was actually, I'm glad I sat beside Miko because, it was, to be on that side of the table, right, was my first time and experience being in that position. And so, it to be able to sit beside Miko and sort of job shadow him. Do you know what I mean? Watch how he works and how he interacts and, you know, what goes on, was actually really cool. And it was a really great learning experience. And to be able to sit beside Miko, and Miko and I, like, we get along so well anyway. We were just laughing hysterically at some of the stuff that I can't repeat here, but there's some stuff that we were having fun with, let's just say. And just certain little things that we, you know, just, yeah, it's a lot of fun. And but to be in that position was great. You know, so yeah, really cool.
And
experience.
We had different interactions depending on whether people were coming by on Friday or
That's right.
Saturday and Sunday, because
right.
quite frankly, the event on Friday, look, no one knew what to expect from Dylan's New Nightmare, right? It was it's a project that's been in gestation for a very long time at this point as a result of the COVID delay.
Yeah.
But still, as much as you and I and Vin and Miko and whoever could talk about what people had in store for them after we knew for sure in November, there's still a degree of questionability, of course. And then we dropped a teaser and trailer that got really good reactions, but still, they don't know for sure, right? Maybe we cherry picked the best parts of the film, which a lot of people do with their trailers and stuff. And so we finally got to get an audience, and I checked the room. So let's just slowly creep into it, shall we?
Okay.
So Mad Monster AZ takes place at a place called the Renaissance Hotel. There's a big convention floor with all the vendors and almost all the celebrities. Like, that's one of the most beautiful things about Mad Monster, is that the vendor floor and the celebrity floor is the same floor. The celebrities have the outskirts against the walls, and the vendors have the rest of it. And it's not a separation that a lot of cons do. There's not curtains and like long lines to get. I mean, you know, there's lines, but it's not like literally, you know, roped off lines for thousands of people. It's a very intimate atmosphere throughout, right? We sat across from Tom Atkins and Dick Warlock for the entire weekend, and we just saw their lines get bigger and get smaller, and like, it's just,
that was funny.
But they were right there the entire time, and yeah, we have interactions from both as a result of what we were doing all weekend. But that's the atmosphere of Mad Monster, just so people know.
Yeah, it's quite intimate,
very intimate, and I've always loved that about Mad Monster, because it's unique in that sense to me.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
But it's a great con, and we had people coming up, you know, saying that they were here for the event that night and they couldn't wait to see it. And I was doing my best at masking, but I was very, very nervous. Of course. I mean, who wouldn't be, having been the orchestrator of the entire thing, so to speak, you know what I mean, for over 4 years with the delay. So I had a lot riding on this whole thing, and I just tried to not act like it was affecting me as best I could, but I was extraordinarily nervous. I was confident that we had something great, but I was still nervous because we hadn't had any sort of public screening, and we hadn't had a lot of outside opinions to give their thoughts, maybe one or two, and those were positive, so that helped me. But overall, this was still a very risky proposition, this entire thing, and one that is a long time in the making at this point. So there was a lot going into it, but that Friday, I was enjoying it while I could, and like, you know, because nothing had happened yet. So in my mind, I was like, oh, everyone could love it, or, you know, maybe Robert will show up. And let's just say right up front, unfortunately, Robert did not get to see the screening, because I know that's going to be a question. So Robert Englund did not get to the screening, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean that we weren't able to speak with him at some point throughout the weekend. So there's that aspect of the story as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of what you have planned as far as, you know, discussing things, but Friday leading into things and everyone getting there, and first off, getting to see the whole crew again was awesome. But it was interesting to see everyone's reaction before the film on Friday compared to the rest of the weekend. So what was all that like for you?
Well, I mean, sort of how I expected. I mean, we knew that, the Friday I was going to be putting the makeup. So,
Right.
that is something
You were
that
incapacitated for a few hours.
yeah, exactly. I was at the table beside Miko and took a couple of selfies with some people. And then all of a sudden I had to go sit in the makeup chair because I was going to be there for about 4 hours. And, but having Nora there, of course, is great. And Nora's wife, Rachel, was there. Shout out to the two of them. They are absolutely amazing and fantastic.
They're
And
so awesome.
they are, and so attentive and always there and just true professionals. That these are not people, these are true professional makeup effects artists. They know their stuff. They are just absolutely amazing. And I was getting put into makeup right on the convention floor. I wasn't in a back room. I was right behind the table. So people were walking by, and I noticed that when the process started around
We have a
6.
couple of shots, right? I don't know if you want to pull any up.
Yeah,
but yeah.
no, we do. I did post them on my social media. I don't have them readily. Hang on, I'll get here. I'll get it here. Okay.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but I mean, contextually, why not?
Yeah. Let me just save this. I just have to bring it up here. I should have had this ready before. I didn't think to do this before because I'm an idiot. Let me just bring this up here. Just give me a second. Okay, so here I am on the makeup floor, getting. I'm gonna block me. I'll leave Cecil open, but I'll block me. So there I am, getting all dolled up on the makeup floor, and this is behind the table. So people were walking by and seeing me, getting put into makeup. But what's interesting is that when the process starts, right, if you don't know what's going on, then you have no idea who I'm becoming, right? So it's not immediately obvious what Nora and Rachel are doing or what, I mean, they're clearly putting me in some sort of makeup, but if you walk by in the very early stages, like in the first hour or two, it's not immediately obvious who I'm becoming, unless you already know what's going on. But once, even before this stage, before the painting stage, once that front piece goes on, and with that hook nose and everything and all that, then it becomes really obvious who I'm becoming. And I notice, and we actually joked about that, myself and Rachel and Nora, that we noticed a shift in people so when people would walk by later, they would be all like, oh, and then the selfie, not the selfies, but the phones would come up, and the pictures would, start to be taken. But it was really fun because through that whole process, Tom Atkins was across from me, sort of on my left. Dick Warlock was across from me on my right. And Tom Atkins, when there was a bit of a lull in his line of people, he would look over at me and he'd smile and he'd point at me, and I'd point back at him, and I'd be going like this. It's good, it's over, buddy.
They can't see you.
It's over. They can't. Well, no, they will in a minute. They will in a minute. No.
Okay, sorry.
There's the delay.
I was looking at the delay. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
sorry. Yeah. So I'm going like, like this at him, and he's throwing his hands up in the air, and that went on for like 4 hours, and then finally, Tom comes over on his own, and he's like, I just got to say, you look absolutely amazing. What's going on over here? And blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and it's so funny because he's like, I got to get a picture with you. So now in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he wants a picture with me. I said, that's amazing. I mean, obviously it's because I'm in the makeup, let's be honest. But I'm like, well, that's great. So I said, sure, no problem. Well, then his assistant takes my phone, snaps a picture of me and him, and then he leaves. Now I have the picture on my phone, and I'm like, does he want the picture, or was it for me? Because he's like, I got to get a picture with you. And I'm like, maybe I should. I'm like, maybe I got to, I don't know, if Sean Clark is watching. Sean, I have the photo. I'll send it to you. Maybe you can send it to Tom.
Because Tom got confused.
I think Tom might have been like, wait a minute, how do I get that photo now? Anyways, it was really cute. It was really sweet. Very, very, very nice, man. And as Rachel and Nora said, very soft hands. He did have very soft hands when we shook his hand. I think he's like oil of Olay 38 times a day or something. I don't know what it is, but Tom Atkins has got some soft hands, as soft as his mustache, let's say.
Of course.
And then the Dick Warlock thing. Dick Warlock was doing the same thing, but I noticed it more from Tom Atkins. But then, so what happened was the next day, so not that day, but the next day on the Saturday, I had my back turned. I don't know if I was talking to Knightley and his dad, maybe is who I was talking to.
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember. But then I guess Dick Warlock had come over to our tables, but one table down to talk to you guys. Like, hey, what's going on over here? This is really cool. I guess there was a lull for him as well. And I didn't notice that. And then, so.
Yeah, he came up, he was asking about it. And I was like, the big Halloween fan is right here. And I'm like, it's this guy right here. And specifically, He loves Halloween too.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, and he just slid away from me, just slid down the tables over to Dave. And I was like, Dave. And you look at me, you're like, huh? And I was like,
no, you said you.
What did I say?
You have a customer or something like that, right?
You have a guest or something.
A guest. Yeah. So I turn around and it's Dick Warlock and he's there and he's like, "Can I have your autograph?" And I just
did he really?
He said that. Yeah. That's totally what he said. And I just started laughing and I shook his hand and I said, "Mr. Warlock, it's an honor to meet you." You know what I mean? Because I'd never met him. I've never met him.
And you do specifically like Halloween 2.
I do like Halloween 2. Halloween 1 is my favorite. But
Halloween 2 is your second favorite.
Is my second favorite.
All the new sequels,
100%. I still think it's the best sequel in the franchise, for sure.
I love that. So that's why I did that, to be honest.
For sure. And I really appreciate that. But funny enough, we didn't talk Halloween. We talked Freddy Krueger and what was going on with me, because that's what he led with, right?
Isn't that so unique? Like, who has that interaction with Dick Warlock?
That's what I mean.
Where he's interested about what you're doing.
Exactly.
That's
exactly. I mean,
unique.
Listen, I would love to talk to him about Halloween 2, but he's also probably sick of talking about Halloween 2.
Yeah, but that's so fucking cool.
It is cool. He was there, and I posted a photo. Actually, let me see if I can get that photo as well.
Oh, yeah.
I should have.
By the way, shout out to Robert the Wolfman for the last photo and for this photo.
Yes, for sure. I should have been more prepared.
Robert the Wolfman, a big part of the horror show channel, a big part of the behind the scenes of Dylan's New Nightmare, especially leading up to Mad Monsters. So shout out to Robert the Wolfman. You're awesome, Robert.
So there is myself and Dick Warlock.
I spilled.
Yes. That is, so this, we talked for maybe, I don't know, it felt like 10 minutes, but it was probably only 5 minutes.
It's about 5-6 minutes.
And so he, but we didn't talk about Halloween or Michael Myers or anything, because the first words out of his mouth essentially were, I saw you getting put in the makeup over here, last night, and I was looking over at you, and I was blah, blah, blah. And then I said, oh, yeah, it's this and this, and, I'm playing Freddy in this. And he was very, one thing I will say, whether Dick Warlock was actually interested or not, I don't know, but he sure made it seem like he was. The sign
Look
of
at the joy on your face.
But that's the sign of a true professional. And I believe he was. I do believe he was, because he brought it up. And he was very engaged and asking questions about it. How long did it take to put on? How long did it take to take off? There were no questions. We did not talk Michael Myers at all. It was all about him being interested in what I was doing. And like you said, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Again,
indeed.
That's a unique interaction. Like that. Dick Warlock, they're saying he's 83 years old.
He is, yeah.
The fuck does he care about what other people are doing? You know what I mean? But he was interested.
Well, and same with Tom Atkins. He's in his 80s.
Yeah, exactly. They're horror royalty, horror.
100%. Well, this is a legendary Michael Myers actor right here, and a legendary stuntman. He was Kurt Russell's stuntman for many years.
He was Hooper in Jaws.
He was
for the shark
cage.
Attack.
That's right. That's right.
So absolutely,
he's a legend.
Legendary. Again, and I just love this particular shot, like the joy, the smile in your face,
Yeah.
as Dick is like engaging with you. That's just, again, these are the reasons for me, like, that I take away from all of this happen because of like Mad Monster and because of the Horror Show channel. And like, I created the Horror Show in 2014, and it's grown to the point where like things like this are able to happen, and it's just fucking cool to me. And I'm so excited that you had fun. Like, I was so worried that I was going to waste your time bringing you out, but like the reaction to the event, the reaction to you as Freddy.
Oh yeah, well, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that.
So I don't want to get ahead, but like all of it, I'm just so glad that it ended up being worth it for you.
Oh, and, for sure it was. You know what I mean? For sure it was.
That it created memories like this. This is just dope, dude.
Well, and like you see there, right? I'm sitting beside Miko, and you know, again, to sit beside him and to watch him work, and you know, to essentially
selling your own 8x10s.
I sold quite a few.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and to my surprise, and so again, it was just a wonderful experience, and you know, again, I've been in this business for a long time, but this is an experience, a part of this business that I have yet to have. So that was really cool in and of itself. And if I were to never have that experience again, it would be a wonderful thing to always remember back on. Do you know what I mean? That's like that kind of thing. And to meet Dick Warlock there, it was so, and he was engaged, and it's like, oh, how long did it take to put on? I saw you. Again, nothing to do with Halloween. There was not one. I think I might have said, I think I did say, as the conversation was, you know, winding down, something to the effect of, you know, I'm a big fan, you know, love Halloween too, you know, something like that in sort of closing. But that was it. It wasn't like we talked Halloween. We didn't talk Halloween. We didn't talk Michael Myers. We spoke for 5 minutes really about me explaining to him what the hell I was doing there. That's really what it was. It's just me explaining why I'm behind this table.
Yeah,
that's really what it is.
Here's why I'm actually supposed to be here.
Yes, exactly. And just a sweetheart of a man. Both him and Tom Atkins could not have been sweeter, could not have been nicer, and just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So big shout out to both of them for sure.
So 100%. Yeah, Friday we're hanging out, right? We're just doing our thing, and we have people coming up, and I don't, did they come up Friday or? So we had really
Tom Atkins came up.
No, not these gentlemen. Okay. I'm talking about a specific viewer from our last stream.
Okay.
Was that Friday or was that Saturday?
Well, we got to give a shout out. It was
exactly.
Meow Raya.
Meow Raya. Exactly. So literally the last stream that we did.
I can't remember.
Yeah, okay, I couldn't remember, but the last stream that we did on Dave's channel leading up to Mad Monster, we had a fun interaction with one of his viewers that we were like,
it's a new viewer, right?
You know, like, yeah, we were like, what?
I think they were one of your viewers that then found me through you. I think. I'm
not sure. Either way, it was
because I've never seen Meow Raya in here before. No, so if she's watching right now.
Hi, all right. Yeah. But yeah, so it was a fun interaction that we had on the last stream, and then like this young woman shows up to the table and is like,
she's there with guys, I think 2 or 3 of her friends. I think.
2 or 3 of her friends, and she's like, hey guys, you know, I'm really excited about Dylan's New Nightmare. Or again, I don't remember if it was Friday, excited for it, or Saturday after having seen it. It
might have been Friday. I can't.
It might have been Friday. Like, that's the thing. But it was really nice, and she's like, I'm Meow Raya from the stream. We were like, both Dave and I were like, what? Because we were like, that was a memorable.
It's such a memorable name, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so it was so much fun. Like, Meow Raya was just one of the people that showed up. Like there were a lot of people that were like, Dave, I've been watching you for a long time. It's like, did you expect to have such a contingent in the Southwest of the United States as you do? It's pretty cool.
No, but ever since I walked
You're
across,
trying to be modest. You're like,
I'm saying ever since I walked across a parking lot in Burbank onto a Wendy's, and somebody hoot and hollered at me from across the parking lot, Dave McRae, it tells me that anything's possible when I'm in the States. So
That's fair.
So it didn't surprise me, but it was cool. You know, it was nice to, like I said, put faces to screen names, you know, and learn people's real names and see them. But no, it was, you know, it was wonderful. And everybody was so sweet and so nice and yeah, very cool. Very cool indeed. And being put in the makeup, like I said, we were, and again, kudos.
How was that for you with all the people watching? Because that was new, right? The first few times you were put into makeup, it was just you and Nora. So like now you have an audience and stuff. Are you like, because you couldn't really interact with people, right? You have to be still and stuff like that. But what was that like?
It was fine. You know, again, I didn't feel self-conscious or anything like that. It was, I was actually, again, because I know what's going on and the level that the makeup is and the, you know, the quality and who I'm working with and all, you know, I'm excited for people to see it. You know, but like I said, for the first hour and a half to 2 hours, people would walk by and look and think, oh, there's somebody getting put into makeup, but they wouldn't know who it was. It wasn't until the front face gets put on and then the ears get put on.
First it was like the back of the
they
head.
Did
the neck and the chin.
They put the
cowl, essentially.
Well, they put the bald cap on first.
Right.
Then they cut around the ears and they get all that in place. Then they put the head part on, right? You know, on the back. And they get that glued down, and then they start gluing the neck piece. That gets on, and then the face piece comes on, and then the chin piece and the ear pieces. So it's 6 pieces, 6 or 7 pieces total. But once the face went on, then like I said, you started seeing, he's getting made up as Freddy. You know, so that was a lot of fun. And but shout out to Nora and Rachel. I think it was just almost at the 4-hour mark or just under 4 hours. They fucking killed it. Killed it with the speed that they put that on. And that may not sound like it's fast, but it is. They have it down to a science.
Yeah, they did a wonderful job. And seeing people's reactions to you was just so fun, right? Because it's just an added bonus for the Mad Monster people, you know, the people that pay for their tickets. And they just happen across this booth where I very much wanted to say where the new Freddy is being put into makeup. And I feel like that's a natural thing to say at this point.
Well,
because everyone that watched the movie came by afterwards. Like, again, to me, one of the best reviews immediately after the film was a giant dude with a fucking spiked mohawk came up to me.
Yes.
Missing teeth.
Yeah.
Right. Came up to me and it's like, Robert Englund is Freddy, but that was pretty fucking good. And like, that was it. That was his review. And I was like, you know what? I'll fucking take it.
Well,
dude.
that's somebody that no doubt is a Robert or nothing kind of guy. And
exactly. Well, that's the thing. And that's what's so awesome about it. Like people don't realize how many people you're going to convert. Like there's how many of the Robert only dudes you're going to convert. Right. Well, you know what I mean?
It's funny because, when I was at the table on Saturday, so this is the day after the premiere. So I'm at the table on Saturday. Miko and I are just, you know, shooting the shit. He's signing stuff. And I had this guy approaches the table, a young guy, maybe he's late teens, early 20s. He approaches the table and he's got a Freddy Funko Pop in his hand. And he places it. Now, the Freddy Funko Pop is not of my version of Freddy. It's clearly Robert Englund, right? I mean, that because he's the only one that's ever played Freddy outside of Jackie Earle Haley. But I'm just saying, like, a Freddy Funko Pop is it's clearly, you know, the representation of Robert Englund's Freddy, right? And he places it down, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And he's like, can you sign this for me? And I said, you want me to sign it? And he's like, yeah, dude, you're like, you know, what did he say? You're the new Freddy or the next Freddy or something like that. He was at the premiere. And so I did. So I did.
That's so cool.
But it was, and then somebody else later came up with a new Nightmare Freddy action figure. in its packaging, okay,
Uh-huh.
and wanted me to sign it as well.
That's cool.
And
I didn't see that.
Now, whether they took the Funko Pop and the action figure and also went over to Robert and got Robert to sign, I don't know. Maybe they did. I have no idea. Or maybe they just wanted me. Maybe they have already had
that's
it.
awesome. Like,
Even so,
either
that's
way,
still
it's awesome.
But it's just, it was a very, I almost want to be like, whoa, hang on a sec, hang on. Let's give it some time. We don't want to put the cart before the horse here, folks. But it's just we don't want to. But what that tells you is how it resonated with them, and how it was something. It was a very humbling experience. I've been saying for years now that my job is to go in and bring the essence of Freddy Krueger back, the darker Freddy Krueger back, not do a carbon copy of Robert. If you see Robert, if you hear Robert, if you get that Robert vibe, that's great. That's bonus.
Wonderful.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that you probably will somewhere, because he's the one that built the character. So, it's kind of like, speaking as a voice actor, Eric Bauza, who's a Canadian VO actor, really, really nice guy, Canadian from Toronto. Shout out to Eric Bauza. We're the same age. He's the new voice of Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny. He just won an Emmy earlier this year, last year, I think it was, earlier this year. Bugs Bunny's first Emmy. And really, really cool. And so, does he sound exactly like Mel Blanc? Pretty close. But he's not trying to do a Mel Blanc impression. He's trying to do Bugs Bunny, right? So he's understanding the nuances of the character that Mel created. So you go, well, it's not quite Mel, but fuck, it's totally Bugs Bunny. Sounds like Bugs Bunny to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. The mannerisms, the quick wit, all that kind of stuff. So you listen to Eric Bauza. He's Bugs on the HBO. It's not HBO Max anymore. I guess it's just Max. But the new Looney Tunes on Max, he's Bugs and Daffy on there. He was in Space Jam as well and all that stuff. So really, really nice guy. So happy for Eric Bauza. Shout out to Eric. But as an actor, that is what it's about, right? Is bringing the essence of that character there. And if there's any similarities or vibe, that's great, because that just means that I'm tapping into the character that Robert created. And to hear the feedback from people, especially after the movie was done, when we did the Q&A.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was...
Which we will present to everyone, by the way. We recorded it all. I've already got it exported. It looks great. It's a really fun 45-minute Q&A. And I think people are going to really enjoy that. For sure. And I said during, because somebody had asked the question, and I went into sort of what I had just talked about here, about the essence of the character and my approach and all that kind of stuff. And one of the last things that I ended with, and you'll remember this, and it got cheers from the audience, which is great, is, I said, this isn't about, I said, whoever it is, whether I'm the next Freddy, whether it ends up being somebody else, whatever the case is, this isn't about replacing Robert. This is about honoring Robert. Now, somebody could look at that and think, well, you're still replacing him. Yes, maybe it's a matter of semantics. Technically, yes, somebody will eventually have to replace, but it's all about the psychological mindset. When you are emotionally attached to a certain actor playing a certain character, and it's totally understandable. Robert is a legend. We love Robert. He's the GOAT. He's Freddy Krueger. He's made Freddy into a pop culture zeitgeist icon, and he's the Elvis of horror. Right? I mean he's one of the greats. There's no doubt about it. But can there be somebody else? Of course there can. It's all about it's not about kicking Robert to the curb like he's no good and he's a smelly old man. Get out of here. You're done. You're washed up. That's not what this is about. That's not what it's about. It's about passing the torch. It's about honoring, what's come before so the character can live on.
right? You have to cast right. You've got to cast the right person who understands the nuances and the idiosyncrasies and the character. Casting is huge. It's very, very, very important. But that's what I mean by it. I mean, yes, technically somebody will replace him, but people get so caught up with again, because there's no nuance anymore in the world of entertainment and we just shove that aside, I think people, they who's this guy? Take it over. And it's like, it's not about that. It's about, let's all honor him together. Let's work together and let's do what we can to honor this icon together, and then, and move the character forward in a really genuine, exciting way that Robert can be excited about, that the fans can be excited about, that it can still be its own thing, but still be very much Freddy. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I said really during the Q&A when I got asked about it, because I was prepared. I thought somebody was going to ask me about it, and somebody did. So I took the opportunity to sort of do that, and it got cheers from the audience, and because a lot of those people sitting in that audience, I don't know them. I mean, 90% of them could have been Robert or nobody. Right? We see that all the time. And I understand that. Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones or nobody. Harrison Ford is Han Solo or nobody. It's like, I get it. Emotional, nostalgic attachment, childhood memories. It's all we've ever known. Nobody else has ever done it. I totally get it. But I think, and I said this during the Q&A, I would like to think that we proved with this 25-minute pilot, essentially, that we prove that it can be done when it's handled with care and respect and class.
Agreed. It's really nice because that you feel confident enough to say it with that sort of, base, you know what I mean? Like,
I truly believe
class
it.
And everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it.
I love that. And I appreciate that because I worked hard. I wanted to make sure that I aspired to, even though this project started a year before It's Me, Billy, by the time we got around to actually filming it,
It's Me, Billy was we were in development when you announced it.
Right, but before everything started crowdfunding wise and everything.
Yes, correct.
And like, I just knew that I had to reach the level that you and Vin had got to. And that was not going to be an easy thing to do, but it's not altogether, and this is not to minimize anything, but it's not altogether a hard thing to do if you get the right people in place.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do, if you recruit the right people to be involved in your production, it's going to make things infinitely easier to produce something that people want to see.
That's right.
Professionals, and you know that above all else, you guys kill it with the Billy productions, 100% kill it with the professionalism and the crew and the stuff that you've got access to, because awesome that Bruce has his ins right from his job and everything, and you have your talent from the voiceover career, and like it all meshes into an amazing thing. But like, it's a lot to try and make sure you can get to if you don't have access to necessarily all of those things.
Right.
But yeah, you and Vin set a standard, and I just wanted to meet and, or if possible, exceed said standards.
Right.
I don't know that I ever exceeded them, but we'll see what people think. I think at the very least, they'll consider Dylan's New Nightmare on the similar, if not the same level as Never Hike Alone and Billy.
Right.
So that's what's exciting, because that's not just me. That's your talent. That's Vince's talent as a producer and first assistant director. That's Miko's talent as a crazy good performer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And all of it coalesced into a project that, while people had to wait for it, I feel like it's going to be worth their wait. It's, not every thing that people invest in end up being worth it, but I like to think that based on what we have right now, I can confidently say that the people that invested, as in spite of how long they had to wait, I think it's worth their weight.
I think so too. And again, because it premiered at Mad Monster, it's a horror convention. It's the right audience. And
not only that, but the one that Robert was the guest of honor for.
Right,
you know
exactly.
I mean? And they're all Freddy fans.
100%. And I can't remember their names. My apologies if you're watching or if you see this, but the couple that we signed the Challenger car.
Yes.
I forget their names, but huge Freddy fans. And she came up to me after the premiere, because I was still in makeup, and also on the Saturday, and said that she's one of the, this is self-proclaimed, of course, but she says, I'm one of the world's biggest Freddy fans. And she says, I just want to let you know that you're the next Freddy. And, when you hear things like that from Freddy fans, that are there and that watch the movie. And then, of course, when I went on stage at the beginning and welcomed everybody there.
That was so good. And that, by the way, that's Dave being the consummate performer, right? Because we hadn't really discussed exactly what was going to happen.
No, that was spur of the moment.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just I was like, okay, I got to introduce, because we knew we were going to do the Never Hike Alone lead in.
Yep.
So I was like, I got to introduce Vin, and then I got to introduce the movie. And we had literally just spent 4 hours putting you into makeup, and you come up to me, you're like, hey, what if maybe I do a little thing, and welcome that. And I was like, that's fucking, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That we should absolutely do that. And luckily, and shout out to Steve Orgo, SWAT HD in Arizona here, because Steve recorded the whole thing for us.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to do the whole night's presentation minus the film, of course.
Yeah.
But he filmed the Q&A, and he did a great job. And he's
let me
been
play
a supporter
that
of everything from the very beginning.
That opening.
Yeah, please.
It's on my channel. I uploaded it as a separate thing, but for those of you that might not have seen it, it's only 29 seconds. So
Corey in the chat got to see it too. He said, can't wait for the world to see DNN. Loved the film. Friday night was the best night of Mad Monster because of you guys. That's
amazing.
That's awesome,
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
that's a great comment. Thank you.
Thank you. This was this is what I did.
Mad Monster, Arizona. You are all my children now.
There you go. There it is. There it is. Yeah, it was just something that I wanted to do. It felt right. It felt like the right thing to do, and give people sort of a tease of what they can expect. Because Freddy is one of those characters that is protected. It's Robert Englund's portrayal is very much protected. It's sacred grounds, and it's big shoes to fill. And I'm not under any delusions on trying to replace Robert. I just want to do the character justice, and that's what it's always been about for me. And so to see people come up afterwards, to hear those kinds of cheers in the audience, to be able to nail it, I think because I heard from these people and I got a sense from these people that I think there were people in the audience that were like, okay, let's watch this, and that we won them over with the film and with the portrayal. And maybe there's some people that don't want to admit it. That maybe there is somebody else that can do it. But there is, we're actors, and that's our jobs. And Robert Englund would tell you that there's somebody else out there that can do it, So it was an honor, and it was very cool to hear people's responses and to come up and Freddy fans that were already stamping me the new Freddy, and I just was like, whoa, hang on a sec here, let's but no, I mean, I would take that phone call for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, everyone was so on board once they saw what you had to offer. And, the version of the film that we were able to show was, because of various reasons, it was a bit darker than we wanted. There's still going to be a couple of little adjustments from what we showed to what's actually going to be available towards the end of August. But it's going to be really great. And clearly what's great, well, one of the number of things that was great to me as the guy that wrote it was the audience reacted really well to a lot of moments in the movie. Like,
first of all, before you get into that, let me just say that the place was packed, and it was very
a 288 seat theater. There was probably 50 empty seats.
Yeah.
So
like
250 at least
people in there.
Yeah. 230, 250 people around that. Yeah.
Because
it was awesome.
Miko and I had walked down together, and when we walked in, we were like, we looked at each other like, whoa, shit. Because it was difficult to gauge, no pun intended on Miko's character name from Pet Sematary. But it was difficult to gauge how many people were going to show up. It's Friday night. It's 11 o'clock. Are people going to want to stick around? It was hard to get an assessment on the buzz. But certainly, I mean, yeah, with nearly 300 people in there, it was crazy. It was crazy. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just it was great that we had so many. Well, yeah, I mean, just picking it up from there, there were a lot more people in that room than we anticipated. 3 giant screens. We only ended up being able to show it on the middle screen, but it was a really good time, and people were laughing at the little moments. Like, to me, I cut out the 2 big jokes of the film.
Right.
But there were other ones that were more kind of woven into the dialogue that weren't like set up punchline, here's the joke. And those got like really good reactions. And I was surprised at how well the writing actually got, noticed and it got the attention. And Dave, obviously, and Miko pulling off the lines, that might not have been the easiest thing to do, but they absolutely killed it, and the audience reacted exactly how we wanted them to react at the points we wanted them to react that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, well, it's crazy. It was just surprising how well people bought into the product that we presented.
Yeah. No, it was nice. It was very nice to see. And so, the film, for those of you that don't know, the film will release online towards the end of August. So that's when everybody else will get a chance to see it. This was, like an advanced premiere, almost like a test screening for all intents and purposes. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, and I think it tested well. Again, folks, it's a 25-30 minute movie. It's the first installment in what would be a larger story. So you have to keep that in mind when you watch it. You know what I mean? But I think it played well. It played well. And Miko, shout out to Miko Hughes, who was fantastic, who his performance was talked about as well. Because again, Miko, obviously former child star, and hasn't really acted. He's been in, some things here and there, but he's mostly been, behind the scenes, DIT, things like that for
like 20 years.
20 years, a very good job, a very important job, by the way. But so he's always remained part of the entertainment industry. But in terms of leading a short film or, whatever the case, or a film, he's sort of been on the peripheral, on the outside for many years. So for him to step back into this character and in a higher profile sort of role in the sense of that it will get people talking because it's Freddy, and it's Elm Street. I know he was nervous about it, but he did a tremendous job. I know he was nervous when we walked into the room and we saw all those people, but he was terrific. I don't have any issues to say about his performance. It's like I said to him on the panel when we were doing the Q&A, I said, it's like a muscle, and you might not have used it in a while, but when you start, it all comes back to you. And I thought he did a great job, a really great job. And I think people will be very satisfied with his performance.
I think so too. I think they'll be surprised from the performance. That's actually one of the bigger, one of the comments that we got more often than I thought we would, based on the small sample size. And that was that Oh, excuse me. God,
That's okay.
I've been up for too long. Oh my God.
It's all
Hang
right.
on 1 second. Let me smack myself in the face with something. Mhm. No, but they said they were surprised at how dramatic the movie ended up being,
Mm,
and yet how interesting it was in spite of it being dramatic. You know what I
right.
mean? A lot of people associate drama with slowness.
Right.
That's not the case, right?
Yeah.
It's informative drama, but it
Right.
is a drama with thriller aspects, which
Right.
is very much what the original Wes Craven's New Nightmare was. And I think people were surprised at what they got. Like, here's ultimately what I determined after watching the screening. Like, we had people reacting to the little jokes that I had woven in that weren't like jokey jokes,
Yeah.
but were funny dialogue if you consider the sadistic nature behind them.
Right.
But like, they reacted well to the acting, and they reacted well to you especially, and all of it just coalesced in it, and it, was, I mean, not surprising, but surprising. You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
didn't know what to expect, but everyone really enjoyed it on a level where once it was all said and done, I was like, okay, if this is the reaction from the first initial screening, I definitely am less nervous about the overall reaction from the public as a whole.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's a mistake, because this is our audience, the Mad Monster audience is our audience, especially considering the Robert of it all. But the event, when we finished the event, we did our Q&A, and there were a number of questions throughout the entire 45-minute Q&A. It was only supposed to be a half hour. We went for about 45 minutes, and there were loads of hands in the air the whole time, ready to ask questions. They were engaged in what we had presented to
Yeah.
them.
The Q&A could have kept going.
Oh, 100%.
I'm going to bring up a picture of the Q&A, the one that you posted.
Please.
Just bring that up here. Here it is.
Yeah,
Go ahead. It's on the screen.
It's just crazy that, it's not crazy. Like, we were hoping for this, right? But there were so many people that were engaged with what we'd presented. They wanted to know more.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know more about behind the scenes. They wanted to know more about the story. They wanted to know more about the music that we presented. That was the first question that we got was, did you guys do a mashup of this and this? Because that was awesome. And like, that was more than one person that was excited about that particular thing.
Right.
So yeah, this is a shot of the Q&A right here. Dave in his Freddy makeup and everything. But it was just a trip that we had made everyone happy enough that they were curious about, little things about the story or this or that. And when they had specific questions that we didn't give answers to in the movie per se, I was able to give little background details that I envisioned that people wouldn't have otherwise gotten were we not there to do the live presentation. So it was just a really singular experience. And the whole thing came together so well. I mean, people laughing and jumping and cheering for the Freddy lines, at times. And it was just, again,
there was
a
quite
very
the
singular experience.
There was quite the pop from the audience when I first appeared on screen, which was nice.
That was
absolutely
fun. Yeah. And then not only that, but you had a couple of, some might say silly, but I think they're effectively derisive and funny in that way, where you say certain things that's like very Freddy.
Oh,
and it makes you giggle. What I mean? They're not meant to be jokes, but they're said with such a shitty demeanor that you can't help but laugh to them.
Right.
And that's the point, right? That's what we wanted. So I'm just very excited that the first and only audience we've shown this movie to has reacted the way that we wanted for 90 to 95% of the entire film.
100%.
So that's great.
I just wanted to bring up a couple other photos here I forgot to bring up earlier, like the one here with Tom Atkins. There's myself and Mr. Mustache himself. John Atkins. So this was the photo that we took. I'm sitting down in the makeup chair. I'm I'm not that much shorter than Tom, but I'm leaning into him, and this was the photo that he came over and he wanted to take this photo. I didn't ask for this photo. He wanted to take a photo, I presume for himself, and I got to figure out how to get this photo to Tom if he still wants it.
Oh, that's a good one.
So I just thought it was really funny. Yeah, it's a really good photo. It's a really good photo. A lot of fun. And then what others? There's this one here, of course. No horror convention would be complete without the presence of Mr. Sean Clark. So there's Sean and I right there. Sean, I think, just pooped his pants.
Natural.
I think he did. I think he's I pooped my pants. Yeah, Sean's great. I love Sean. And then I think let me see here. Is there another one?
Sinister Creations said, I was like, oh, they updated that. Wait, that's a mix? Amazeballs regarding our song. So
oh, yeah. Oh, there's this photo here that was taken by Nora Hewitt. I love this photo. I'm sitting beside her, and Robert, the Wolfman of the horror show, is sitting beside me on my left. This is us watching the movie. This is such a great photo. Look at this photo. I didn't know she had taken it. It's just Freddie chilling in the seats, watching himself on the screen.
I don't know which photo you're talking about. I'm watching the stream so I can see.
I
it
look
pop
pretty
up here.
fucking good. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I knew that was going to be an awkward thing.
You haven't seen this photo yet?
Freddie's sitting there watching the movie for 30 minutes,
Oh.
Oh yeah, that one I've seen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that watching the movie? I thought that was the panel for some reason. Oh no, because Robert was there. Okay,
well, yeah. It's not the panel because Nora and I were on the panel.
Right, exactly.
So,
but Robert wasn't. So
that's right. Yeah. So that's a lot of fun too. And then this one I posted the other day on social media as well. People have seen this was taken during the actual shoot in November. This one here, which is the one, with me in the hat.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Very, very good one.
Yeah. That's a selfie. I actually took it myself.
We don't need anyone else.
No. I just put the filmmaker hat on and was like, right lighting, good composition, good framing, and just took it. So yeah, lots of good stuff. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think the premiere, Cecil, I think you obviously were relieved to get the feedback.
Yes.
And to hear people's thoughts. The Q&A was interesting. The questions were great. I can't speak for anybody else. I can only speak for myself. But for me, as playing it's a lot of pressure, because in a Freddy movie, if Freddy doesn't work, it really all rides and dies on whether Freddy works.
True.
And to get the feedback that we did from Freddy fans and horror fans being like, that was amazeballs, that worked. Holy shit. And that guy that came up to you and was like, Robert will always be Freddy, but that was pretty good. That really in his world is, holy fuck, that was really good.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what he wanted to say.
Agreed.
But he couldn't say that because he feels he would be disrespecting Robert if he said that. Right. And that's the psychological sort of mental block that I think some people have. And listen, I probably have it too with certain things, right? Because we're so emotionally attached to, those characters and those actors that play them. We almost feel that we're disrespecting them, if we acknowledge that, wow, maybe somebody else can do it, but that's a good thing, because that means we can have more Elm Street movies.
Exactly.
And
the people are like, no one but Robert can play Freddy. It's like, so you'd rather just the franchise die? Like, that's not like, why?
The franchise die. This coming from fandom that wants sequel after sequel after sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
But
no,
as you said, it's about casting the right actor that understands those things. And I'm very thankful and appreciative, like I said on that thing I gave you, for believing in me. Thank you for believing in me to be able to do this, because you never know where this is going to go. It may just stop here and it may go nowhere, but you never know who's watching. You never know who's out there. And I got asked quite a bit over the weekend, well, from people who weren't saying you are the next Freddie. The next thing was, would you do it? And my answer is yes, of course I would do it, 100%. You know, I'd have to, you know, it's a phone call I'd be willing to listen to, obviously.
Sure.
You know, what are the terms? What's the direction? What's the story? You know, all that kind of jazz. You know, I certainly don't want to be a part of something that I just don't feel is right. You know, they're just doing something completely not, you know, and it's like, I don't know if I want to be a part of that. But certainly if, you know, I could portray Freddie the way that I portrayed him in Dylan's New Nightmare, and I could have that creative leeway to bring that Freddie back. Absolutely. I would do it in a, as Harrison Ford would say, in a New York minute.
No, I think, look, I mean, we can't determine exactly what's going to happen after this, but I think that I think that we've crafted something that's going to please the fans. Again, if the small sample size that we got is any actual indication, of course, you and I both know that we're going to get a small contingent, at least, of haters, right?
Of course.
That will poop on the movie no matter what condition it's in. But I don't think that that's going to be the majority. And I think that even some of what would have otherwise consisted of that entire group, I think some of those will back down from it if they, you know, get a chance to take a look at things and see what we're actually brewing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyway, the point is, the sample size that we utilized this past weekend really gave us hope as to what everyone else is going to think as well, which is great. Yeah. Right? Because that's what we wanted from the start, is that, you know, Nightmare fans were going to want what we delivered. And I think that's definitely going to be the case. And we already have ideas as to where we want to go and stuff like that. But we're not entirely done with this particular production yet. But, but it's great that so many people are interested, and so many people that saw that the film debuted last weekend are like, oh, I want to see it now. How can I see it? You know,
and I stand by this. You know, I've said it to you before. I'll say it again. It's a great pilot. And if the rights, if the Craven estate ever wanted to do something, listen, there's many different ways you can go with Freddie. You can tell the same story over again, right? Which is, let's just recast Freddie and Nancy and just tell that story again. And this is Nancy Thompson dream, you know. Yes, we could absolutely just remake a Nightmare on Elm Street like they did in 2010. You could totally do that. Obviously, I know that there is, you want to put Freddie on the big screen. Of course, we always want to see everybody on the big screen, but streaming is, you know, becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And the direction of the story, I can't say too much, obviously, because it would be spoilery, but a lot of the things that you and I and Vince and Miko and even, you know, producer Dave, you know, that we've all talked about in terms of the potential direction on where this story, Dylan's New Nightmare, where it could go, you know, what, you know, the layers and all that. I mean, it'd be a great series. You know, it sounds like it would be a great, and I know it's not, you know, it's not, you know, the Elm Street. It's not the direction that you would think would work, because you would think that you would want to bring back Freddie and Nancy, like not Heather Langenkamp as herself, but like actually Nancy, you know, and maybe that's the way that they'll want to do it for, you know, nostalgia, to capitalize, you know, the Halloween 18
It's not the way I don't want to do it, but the way some people would want to do it. Yeah.
For sure. But because that's been exhausted to death, and although it could potentially be a moneymaker, who knows? But then what? Then where do you go? Right? Is maybe you do what Cobra Kai has done. You do what Stranger Things. Now I know that Cobra Kai is still fictional. It's not like they're playing fictional versions of themselves. But I just mean that like in terms of a series, you know, and that it if it's well written, it could be really good. And I know that the new Nightmare meta self-aware, everybody's playing themselves, like I said, isn't necessarily the direction you'd think you'd want to go in, that you think fans would want them to go in. Because no, it doesn't make any sense. I want Heather to play Nancy, and you know, Freddy, and the whole.
There's so much more depth there if you just let it ride.
But we've
a little bit.
done that already,
right?
And we tried it in 2010, and so here's something that's a little different, but it's still very much Elm Street, and we've already got this pilot.
Yep.
Right. And, you know, professional production value, totally, you could just use the pilot. I mean, maybe they might say something like, hey, listen, let's do the pilot again and we'll give you more money. Great. No issues.
Fantastic.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will have a problem with that.
That can happen too. That it's at the very least, it's a proof of concept that is totally professional. There's nothing wrong with it. You could use as the pilot, or you could just, you know, say, we love this. Now we're going to give you, you know, $2 million to redo this and continue, you know, whatever. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
No issues
and then
there.
we'll take 100,000 of that and pay for the perks of all the people that contributed.
There you go.
Right?
That's it. That's exactly it.
And then the rest we you know,
That's it.
Oh
That's
my
it.
God. That's
So,
such a wonderful scenario.
100%. But because I know it's a little unorthodox to think that the direction to go in Elm Street is the new Nightmare direction, but maybe
it's the best direction for a send-off.
There's a lot of and because of what we've been talking about,
continuing story.
What we've been talking about, you know, I can't. But you know the whole, like, the different, and the whole different. There's all the, like, I'm telling you, you make it a series. You let it breathe, right? You let it breathe. So you have that breathing room. Each episode's 45, 50 minutes. You got that breathing room, you know, 10 episodes. Maybe it just ends up being a mini series of, you know, 5 episodes.
Or 6 episodes.
Or 6
yeah,
episodes.
Whatever.
Who knows? But to have 6 hours as opposed to 90 minutes to tell a story.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
You know, maybe it's crazy enough to work. I know the natural instinct is, no, it's got to be a remake of Elm Street or a prequel. We go back and we tell the story of it. And okay, I mean, maybe that'll work. Listen, my ass is going to be in the seat to see it. Maybe that's sure. But I'm just saying, maybe this is crazy enough to work. Fans don't know they want it until they see it, you know?
Exactly. And this is a way to give the fans a couple of send-offs that they want so bad. You know, if we get to do the story that I have in mind, it's trust me, it's the story that you guys want too, considering otherwise there will never be another Robert movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Trust me, you want things to work out for the story that we have lined up. If you don't want to see Robert never play Freddy again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
because there's
exciting.
there's ideas here that include everybody.
Exactly.
And that's what's wild. Like when you told me your idea, the proverbial sort of, I can't even say it, like the way you told me how to get everybody involved, including Robert and everybody and all that, like just the certain things that you've expanded on and ideas that, you know, I'm just like, dude, that's it. That's it. Like the
best.
You make a series out of that, and there I am as Freddy, and everybody, like, and then who knows what happens after that? But what a wonderful way to bring it all home. Like, I mean, I was impressed. I'm very impressed. So, it could be crazy. So you never know. You never know who's watching. Right. If anybody from, you know, the Craven estate, after this is out there, and you know, I mean, get in touch with Cecil and Vince and everybody, and because I know they'd be more than happy and excited to really sit down with you and you know, at least have the opportunity to pitch an idea that I think horror fans, this is from the fans for the fans, right? So if anybody knows, it's horror fans, and that this is something that I, again, it's got to be done right, well written, you know what I mean? Can't just willy-nilly it, but I think it's a meeting you should take. Let's just put it that way. I think it's a
Yeah,
movie we should take.
I think we'd be able to make a lot of fans happy, including Robert himself, who
100%.
personally loves Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
He does.
That's his
He
favorite
does.
installment of the series.
It includes everybody. Again, it is meta in the sense of that you have people playing fictional versions of themselves. So, you know, Heather is playing Heather Langenkamp and all that, you know, a fictional version of himself. But it's very similar to Cobra Kai in the sense of you find ingenious, wonderful ways to bring everybody back, to make it work, to feel satisfied. And I'm just telling you, Craven Estate, it's a call you should make because it's good. It's good if I do say so myself.
I appreciate that. So let me ask you, as someone that obviously you have a lot of skin in this game. You know what I mean? You want to make sure.
Well, that's where my ass skin went.
Well, I mean, you know that, like you said, a Freddy movie lives and dies by its Freddy most times, right? So what was it like for you, having put in the time and the effort to make your Freddy, watching the audience react to you for the first time? Were you watching the screen? Were you watching the audience? What was that like for you?
I was watching the screen because for the first like 10 minutes I was standing off to the side. Okay. And then I went and sat down beside Nora and Robert. And I wasn't watching them. I was watching the screen. And because I'm part of the audience. So I wasn't, maybe if I hadn't had all the makeup on and everything, I would have maybe, you know what I mean? But I was just listening to them when I first came on screen. There was, of course, it was a big pop because of the way that it's done. And I thought, well, this is it. This is either going to work or it's not going to work. But it was very clear to me as even just that scene went on. You could feel, and maybe it's just me, but I think you could feel it. There were other people that said that, like even people that are not associated with the film. You could feel almost an energy shift, like, oh, you know what I mean? This is legit. You know what I mean? In terms of this is Freddy. And so that was a very nice thing to experience. That energy and that feeling. Again, it's Mad Monster. It's a horror convention. This, I'm sure, Cannes wouldn't necessarily give it the same response.
Yeah, sure. But maybe,
or maybe, you never know. But that's where you always want to premiere, your films, right? Is to its target audience, and so, no, it was a lot of fun. It was great feedback, great energy. And very surreal, if I do say so. A very humbling, surreal experience. I'm sitting at a table and somebody's wanting me to sign a Freddy Funko Pop. It's not me. I mean, maybe one day they'll make Freddy Funko Pops that are me. I don't know. But this isn't me. This is Robert, right? But they were so enamored with the movie the night before. They obviously loved it.
They saw you as Freddy.
They saw me as Freddy, and it was convincing enough that they're just like, this is the guy. This is the guy. I'm done. This is the guy. So can you sign my Funko Pop, please? He was getting ahead of the game, you see.
Yeah. For real.
He was getting
Funko
ahead.
Pop will probably, I hesitate to say, but that might be worth good money down the line.
Maybe one day. You never know. You never know. I always like to remain humble. I don't want to, put the cart before the horse. But it was cool. It was a very cool experience.
Yeah, the premiere was awesome. I got to watch it basically when the premiere started. I walked to the back of the theater. And Miko came along with me, and we just watched it from the back of the theater.
Yeah, I didn't know where you guys went. I was
went
wondering where you
back.
guys were.
Well, I wanted to watch the audience watch the movie.
I was kind of like in the front a little bit, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the problem with being at the very back is that you notice every time anyone goes to the bathroom, because they come out and the light brightens up when you open the door and stuff like that. So we did that for a bit, but when the movie started and people got into it, like it was so fun watching, because we have some scenes that are long and some might say boring depending on their tolerance level, right? But
depends what their expectations are. It's look, it's a drama.
It's a drama.
It's not it's a thriller drama. I mean, there's dramatic moments. There's exposition. There's feeling. You're reintroducing this character, Dylan. You're reintroducing him. So naturally, we need to find out where has he been. Listen, when you have $10 million, maybe you film flashbacks, and all that kind of stuff. But when you're limited in your budget, you got to figure out ways to showcase or to through the use of exposition to be able to sort of give the audience an idea of what's happening. Now, the trick is that I've always said is that it's not that there are exposition scenes. There's always exposition scenes in movies.
It's a matter of whether you not feel that way.
Well, right. But the trick is this conversation properly motivated?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Does it make sense that these two characters are having this conversation? Yeah. Or is this information that these characters already know and it's clearly just for the audience? That's when you go, okay, this is an exposition dump for the audience. And you're like, this is lame. But as long as everything is properly motivated and through performance and through tension and drama, and it makes sense for these characters to be having this conversation, then it's fine, right? Yeah. It's fine. And especially because of the drama that's happening or the information that's being, relayed. So, but again, you have to have nuance to be able to understand that. And,
Well, no, but I think that's a good point. Yeah. And I think that's part of why we got through a couple of scenes that for some people might be considered long. Like we had a number of people come up and say, this was a lot more dramatic than I expected, but I really liked it. And Miko really surprised me, like they were fantastic. We didn't expect that. And it's like, good. Like that's what we wanted to sneak attack the audience with. Like, if we're doing a sequel to Wes Craven's New Nightmare and like the key pieces are a good Freddy and Miko Hughes, I think we managed to achieve bringing that back around for our project.
I think so too.
A great Freddy, and we have Miko Hughes, who, when we started filming, only reinforced that we had the right Freddy, because he said that he wanted to, be able to discuss with you certain things before performances and stuff like that. And he trusted you because you were doing more than he expected, and you were scarier than he expected, and he wanted to utilize that for his performance, which is great. And again, that in and of itself shows the caliber of acting that we tried to get for this.
That's right.
People just don't give Miko those kinds of thoughts because they haven't seen him in anything in a while.
That's right.
But that's part of why I'm so excited about this. They're finally going to see.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I just want to give a shout out here to, where are you? Did I lose you? Where are you here? Sinister Creations. He says, I hope Dave, Miko, and Ron Sloan all enjoyed their coaster paintings. You guys did so well. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. So speaking of, cause obviously when the Funko Pop came up, obviously that's not like my Freddy, right? And one that, you know what I mean? Well, I did the Freddy Krueger coaster that you made for me is me. It's me going boo. So,
I literally have them right here.
That's really great. So he gave, because mine's
oh no, he gave me something a little different than yours, but these are examples.
Okay, cool. Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I wish mine is, I don't know, maybe I can hang on a sec. Maybe maybe I can go get it. 1 second. I'm just going to I'll be back in 1 second, I think. Hang on. Let me just actually no, that's going to screw that up. Anyway, it was very, very, very cool to see myself as Freddy on a coaster, which was awesome. And you did really well. So thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I think it's upstairs, actually. Anyway, not a big deal.
So you got a lot of compliments after the film. You got one person that said that you were the best Freddy that they'd seen since the first movie, first or second movie, rather.
Yeah, I think they said, that was somebody who didn't know I was, because again, I'm sitting there. It's my first time doing this. I don't have a banner behind me saying who I am. I'm just sitting there like I'm either Miko's assistant or I'm part of the horror show, and if you don't know my face, then I just look like some guy that's just, sitting there, right? Again, for years, I mean, as a voice actor, voice actors, the vast majority of my career has been in commercial, promo, trailer, narration, all that kind of stuff. So there's no doubt that, 75% of the people that walk by that table probably heard my voice in some way or another on a commercial or an ad or, a movie trailer, or something. But the commercial guys, the promo guys, don't necessarily get invited to cons because they're one-off commercials, they're trailers. They're not embedded into the zeitgeist, right? In the same ways that like cartoons and animation are. So whenever voice actors get invited to conventions, they're usually cartoon voice actors, animated, voice actors, right? In the sense of that because they're on series, you know what I mean? Like Eric Bauza, who I was talking about earlier, the voice of Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Well, he'd go to a convention. He's fucking Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, right? So so for me, I've just started over the last 5 or 6 years doing more animation. I'm on a new series now. So it was really so it's not like I'd have no reason to have a banner in my name, right? I mean, I wouldn't get invited for that reason, even though, because people are not like, oh, I can't wait to meet the promo voiceover guy. I mean, nobody really cares about that, even though we're incredibly important and you hear our voices all the time, every day. But anyway, so to be there was interesting because a lot of people, don't really know my face unless you know me from YouTube, right? So there was this guy that came up to, I think was talking to Robert maybe, or maybe it was you, I'm not sure. And they had pointed, well, this is our new Freddy. And he was like, oh, no, said something like, well, talk to him. He's the guy or something. He comes over and I point to the photos. I'm like, well, that's me. And they're like, oh, makeup effects. Yeah. And I said, no, that is me in the makeup. They thought I was the makeup effects artist.
Yeah.
And I said, no, that's me in the makeup. And they were at the screening and they're like, oh, you're the Freddy. And I said, yeah, I'm the Freddy. And they're like, oh, dude, like best Freddy since part 1. That's what he said. Yeah. So that was good. But of course you're not going to know that because I just look like some guy. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting there because I am some guy just sitting there. I don't, like I said. So it was a very cool experience. Again, to be on that side of the table and to job shadow Miko in a sort of, unofficial way because we sat beside each other. Like I said, for those of you that are tuning in now, and to watch him work and all that. So it was great. So yeah, no, a lot of fun. I would totally do it again if the opportunity comes up for sure.
Well, that's great. I mean, I had a really great time being able to see people interact with everyone on the film, and a lot of very nice people came up and were telling me that I, did a great job with the writing and directing and stuff. So that was nice too. So, I just think that overall, it seems like it's going to be hopefully a positive representation of the gross product reception. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think people are going to like it. I think they're going to be surprised at how well you do. There might be a couple people that hate just to hate because they don't like me. The internet without some hate. Well,
no, they don't like me,
or they don't like you or me.
Or you may have one of my haters be like, well, it was okay. It was okay. Even though inside they're like, oh my God. Yeah, that's a win. Yeah, it's a win. If a hater of mine, is like, it's okay, then that's, I'll take it. That's 100%. A win.
Well, I think people are going to really like it. And I think that the test screening proved that it's going to land on a lot more levels than even I anticipated. Like I was hoping the comedy would land, but boy, it landed pretty well with the audience of people there. Again, they were tailor-made they're Freddy fans. They're Mad Monster attendees there to meet Robert Englund and stuff. But we had probably 10 to 15 people come up and say that they only flew down just because they wanted to see the premiere.
They did.
They only had tickets for Friday night.
Before we go over to the questions, I just wanted to say, because I know it's probably, people are like, what? Talk about Robert Englund. So here's the situation. I've had a lot of people, obviously I posted that photo of myself and Cecil and Robert and Miko. And I said, Cecil, Robert and Miko, and Cecil's twin brother. He's in San Diego.
On the failed streaming app Cecil.
What? Yes. Cecil. Was there a Cecil?
Yep.
A streaming app
SEESO.
called Cecil.
Yep.
Anyway, so here's the situation. A photo you can apply and think because it's just a still image, right? So you look at the still image and you think, oh my God, there they are in the same room. They must have like talked. They must have like, what did you guys talk about? What did you guys, did you see, what did he say? What did you say? What did he say? What did he think? What did you think? And all that kind of stuff. Here's the thing that you have to understand. Robert Englund, I don't know if he's like this out on the streets, but at a horror convention, he is the fucking Rolling Stones. He is AC/DC. He is a rock star. And so when myself and Miko and Cecil went to get our photo taken with Robert, and shout out to Mad Monster for helping us with that.
Yep.
And yeah, and you, yes, of course. And
no, I said indeed.
Oh, indeed.
Not
I thought you said
me.
and you. Sorry, no, I thought you meant like and the horror show is what I
Yep.
mean.
Don't forget to thank me, motherfucker.
Yeah, don't thank me, you motherfucker.
Indeed.
Thank me, indeed, and me, indeed. CISO, the failed app. So
right. Yeah.
But so we left the convention floor. And Miko and I are walking with you. You were a bit ahead and we're walking. And then funny enough, Mark Patton and Kim Myers happened to be in front of us walking. Miko and Mark began talking. There wasn't an opportunity for me to say hi to either of them. Kim and I made eye contact, but that's about it. Because we were all like, it's in a rush, right? We were trying to get to where we needed to go. Oh, hi, and Miko and Mark are talking. I acknowledged that that's who they were. I was like, oh, that's cool. They're right here. I don't know where they were going. Maybe it's a break or I don't know. Anyway, so we're walking and there's a lineup, and that lineup is literally all the way down the hall. This is not hyperbole. All the way down the hall, around the corner, in a room, out a room, down this hall, down that hall, in this room, down over here, around this hallway, down this hallway, in this corner, down over here. There's got to be like 2,000 people in this line, if not more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, he's a fucking rock star. The guy's probably making... He's making 100 G's from this photo op alone.
And those people are all happy with only getting 2.5 to 3 seconds.
100%. And we're no different.
Right.
So unfortunately, when we were able to get ourselves into a position, again, shout out to Mad Monster, thank you so much, where we didn't have to wait too long. Right. So that was very nice of them to extend that to us. Again, Mad Monster, you're amazing.
Indeed, very much so.
Indeed, yes, not and me. And so when we got into the room, of course, and they say this before you go in, and they're bang on. They're absolutely right. This is not personal. This is just the way it has to be. Listen, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he's standing on a table and he says, listen, only to the people in this room. There's like thousands of other people out into the hallways and stuff, which I'm sure but he says, listen, there's no time for pleasantries. There's no time for, oh, Robert, you're amazing. There's no time for, oh, I love you so much. And we don't have time for that. You are in, snap, out. And if it means, and if you hear us saying, get out because you're taking too long, we are trying to be mean. Move.
Yep.
It's not personal, but we got thousands of people that we have to get through in a short period of time.
Yep.
So you come in and I mean, I'm not saying you can't say hi to the man, of course. Of course you can say hi to him, but it's like, it's like this. You come in, hi, Robert, how are you? Oh, God, I'm good. Oh, that's great. Okay, guys, ready? Yep. Okay, here we go. Okay, thanks, Robert. Thanks very much. And then you leave.
All right, come on in. All right, we're on the Elm Street lawn. All right, ready?
Yeah. It's exactly it. So it's literally you walk in and you're like, hi, Robert. Hi, guys. How's it going? All right, yeah, we're on the Elm Street lawn here. That's all. Okay, guys, ready? Okay, 5, 4, 3. Okay, Greg. Okay, thanks, Robert. Okay, bye. That's literally it. Like what? 15 seconds.
We got maybe an extra 15 seconds out of the Miko of it all.
Yes,
because
Miko and him recognized each other, so there was a bit of an exchange between them. Yes, that is true. That is true. But very brief, very brief. Even with Miko there, it's like, no, we gotta. There's a lot of people in line, and
we had to do the same thing for our own photo op.
Yes,
we had
100%.
to cruise them through.
100%. Yeah.
Like, next. You know what I mean?
So there was no time, and there can't be any time for me to go, oh, Robert, I love you so much. You're amazing. By the way, I play Freddy Krueger in Dylan's New Nightmare. Do you want to see a photo? There's the photo. You don't have time for that. This isn't fucking, no, out. Get the fuck out. There's no time for that.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
So it literally is.
So we could have either been those guys.
Yeah.
Right. And
yes, we could have been those guys and been yelled at. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then that's the memory he would have had of us. Or we keep it classy. We take our picture. We got all three of us wearing the Dylan's New Nightmare glove, while Robert is not only wearing a glove,
he's wearing your fucking glove for the whole photo ops. Yeah.
Literally every single photo op he wore my Nightmare 4 glove.
Yeah.
Like, that's the nice thing. Mad Monster, once again, when Elvira came a number of years ago, they asked us if we could help get them a couch. We got them a couch that Elvira wanted to sit on for the photo ops. And then this year they're like, do you have a Freddy glove for Robert to wear to the photo op? I was like, not only do I have a Freddy glove, but I've got it made by Nightmare Gloves. Anders, it's one of Robert's favorite glove makers. So yep, I can do that. And they're like, okay, cool. If you let us use it, he'll sign it for you.
And he did. Very cool.
He did. I wish I had it right here handled, but it's downstairs. But
that's okay.
Yeah, he signed it, and it was awesome. Like, Robert was great, and then there was a little bit of an interaction after the event as well.
Yes,
which was fun.
Yeah. So to finish what I was saying, there was no time to talk to the man. I mean, we came in, he acknowledged us, like he saw, that there were three of us there, and he said, hey guys, and then it was just kind of like, hey guys, all right, we're on the Elm Street lawn. That's what's going to be on, the screen behind us, because it's, there's a green screen there, right? He's like, okay guys, ready? And the photographer just goes 3, 2, 1, and it's like, okay, that's it. And then
do you have that pic?
We're gone. Sorry?
Do you have that pic?
Oh yes, I should have that pic. Let me bring that up.
Let's pull that up for people.
So listen, I mean, in a perfect world, if there were, 8 people waiting in line, then we might have had that time, because Robert's like me. He likes to talk. And maybe you get Robert and I in the same room, and maybe you'd have to pull us both apart or something. We both never shut the hell up. But let me just get this photo here. But it's a great photo, and to just
absolutely
be in this, be in the same room with the man, the myth, the legend himself. He's an absolute horror icon and legend, and to be able just
that helped inspire the film,
inspire the film. To be in that, and maybe that was enough. Maybe there was some sort of, I did put my arm around him. I touched his back. Maybe there's some of that Robert DNA has seeped into this hand right here. And it's, the good angels are coming down, and they're like, oh, it was the passing of the essence, the Robert essence. It was the symbolic passing of the torch right there. Maybe, you never know.
Yeah, well, I think
somebody
every
watching.
time you do Robert from here on out, it's going to be more accurate, just because you absorbed
that's right, of
those
course.
photons.
Of course, exactly. But there's the photo right there. That's the photo right there. So
that was so much fun, and the line moved massively quick because of how little time you got with them. But still, it's the legend and the Dylan's New Nightmare crew.
Yeah,
so that was a lot of fun, and just. Honestly, it was a dream come true, because you hope as a writer director that people will react the way you want to your film, and everyone seemed to be very happy with what we presented. They loved Dave's portrayal. They were surprised at how good Miko was. And that's not to say they expected him to be bad. It's just that they hadn't seen him act in 20 years.
That's right.
So they were very excited for that. One of them, one person, one of the questions during the Q&A even talked about how Miko, at one point during the movie, I was getting teared up. You did a really excellent job. And how did you get to that point and stuff like that?
Right.
And it's yes, that's exactly the kind of question you want to hear, where people are like, man, your acting affected me so much that I almost started crying, even though, it was a 28-minute short film. Like I absolutely love that. And it's so cool. And Miko appreciates that kind of thing too. So
For sure. Absolutely.
It's great.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's the photo right there.
Awesome.
And
3 Dylan's New Nightmare gloves and a Nightmare 4 glove.
yeah, it's pretty darn fucking cool. It's pretty darn cool. Now, you did have a brief interaction later after I had left, right? This was on Sunday, right?
Yes, indeed. So after the con had closed and everything, I actually had packed up my car and was headed back home to try and see my son. But then I got a message from Robert the Wolfman that said, "Get back here now. Robert and Lance are having a drink at the bar." And I was like, "Oh shit." So I turned the car around and I ran back to the venue, and I sat down when I got there, and Robert was indeed just having drinks with Lance Hendrickson, but they had a security dude with them that was like shooing off anyone that tried to approach.
Of course.
And then Miko came down and he was like, "I feel like we should maybe try, just give it our all and see what happens." And so we went over and we ordered a couple drinks at the bar. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm going to go give it a try. If I can, I'll bring you over and we'll see what happens." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so he went over, and after a few minutes, Courtney and Alex, who, that was the BTS photographer and the costume designer for Dylan's New Nightmare, they came over and hung out and for a minute. And then Miko stepped away and like leaned out from behind the wall that was hiding Robert and Lance from my perspective. And he just gives me a little beckoning motion. Right. So I'm like, "Oh shit." So I get up and go over there, and he's just like, "Yeah, Robert, this is Cecil. He's the writer and director of the film." And like, so it was very brief, but I was like, he's like, "Yeah, I just wanted him to introduce, just wanted to introduce you to him because, we're just trying to make sure that we're respectful of, everything that you guys did and stuff like that." And Robert was cool. He was very nice. He was accommodating and pleasant to be with for the time. But we also got the impression that he wasn't fully registering what we were saying as far as it being a fan film and a direct sequel to New Nightmare and stuff like that.
Depends how many drinks he had in him.
Well, that's the thing. It was already, the floor was already closed for the night.
Right.
So he was free to start drinking at any point. So there's a chance that he's just like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, kid, but cool. Thanks for the support." I don't think that was the case though, but I do think that, he wasn't thinking about anything other than, doing one particular thing at that point. But nonetheless, it was a nice little thing, a nice little moment, Miko and I directly with Robert. And at the very least, I hope once the film makes its rounds and Robert eventually watches it, that maybe he will make that connection, like, "Oh, this is the thing that Miko was telling me about," because he'll see Miko in the film. Right. And he'll be like, "Oh, this is what he tried to do. This is cool." Yeah. And then who knows, maybe he'll reach out, whatever. Yeah.
And once the film is out there, maybe it'll get back to him, at that point. Right. It's very difficult, right? Because if he doesn't know anything about it, it's tricky, right? It's very tricky to, I mean, it's, there's a number of factors that all have to kind of fall into place for things to, make sense.
Meow Raya's in the house.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
There she is. Raya. Yeah, Meow Raya. There she is.
Glad I got to meet you at Mad Monster. Can't wait to see DNN and It's Me, Billy. So that's awesome.
Amazing. Same.
Right on, Meow Raya. It was great to meet you.
Yes, it was wonderful to meet you. Amazing. It's so cool. So cool indeed. So cool. Now I know some questions did come in.
All right.
Is there anything else you want to say before?
I mean,
about
we
the
can get to
event,
questions.
or
that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, who knows what might pop in my mind along the way? But yeah, right now.
So Sinister Creation sends in a $2 super chat and says, "Truly blessed to meet you guys. Had a great time. Same with you." And again, thank you very much for the coaster. Really appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
And then Corey, you had already read this one out, I think. Corey, is it Narens? Narens, is that how you say that? Sends in $4.99, says, love the premiere. Everyone involved absolutely killed it. It was an honor to meet all of you. Thank you very much, Corey. Appreciate that. DeBears Live 96. Hey, I can now put a face to that name. I can put a face to that name. Says Dave, Cecil, congrats on the film. It was everything I imagined. Yes. I need to see more. Good to meet the cast and crew. Miko was very genuine and gracious. Love you guys. Cannot wait for what is next. Thank you very much, buddy. Really appreciate that.
Very much so.
Matthew Farisi sends in $1.99 and just says, for Freddie. Thank you very much. It's my first Freddy tip. Josh McKenna sends in $9.99 and says, random question, okay? But are there firework laws in Canada? In my city, fireworks were supposed to finish by 11 p.m. on the 4th of July. However, yesterday, someone in my neighborhood was still popping them. I think there are. Yeah, there's like noise bylaws. So I don't know if there's specific fireworks bylaw, but there are noise bylaws. And I think yeah, like after 11 p.m. or something like that. But people still do it. Like I'll still hear people over in parks shooting fireworks off on, Canada Day or something like that at like midnight. So, people are just idiots. Jim Dorsey sends in $4.99 and says, Dave, how hot was it being in the makeup and costume at a crowded convention for that long? Congrats to all involved. Scary Freddy lives on. It wasn't, because I'm in an air-conditioned building. If I was outside in the Arizona heat, then that would be completely different. I'd be melting on the sidewalk. But I was inside and it was very cool inside. Actually, it was so cool inside, I had to put on my hoodie. So, which makes sense when you live in that sort of climate. And that was my first time experiencing real desert heat because in the times I've been to California, it's always been in like the fall. And then and I've never been to Nevada. And then when I went and shot Dylan's New Nightmare last fall, it was in Arizona, but again, it was the fall.
It was November.
It was November. So now I'm going to, Arizona to Phoenix right in the thick of July. So it was my very first time feeling that desert heat, that dry heat. But I will say this, as somebody who lives in Southern Ontario, where we get, very, very hot and humid summers at times. Right. We can get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's humid. It's like Florida. I will say that the dry heat, it's hot. There's no doubt about it. You walk out and it's hot. But
oven hot.
But it's oven hot. It's like when you open your oven and you feel that heat. That's what it's like. It's not the humid hot. And I think personally, although I haven't lived in it, I think the dry heat, the dry desert heat, as long as you're not running around outside or something, I think is more tolerable to be walking around outside in my opinion, than the humid heat we get over here. Because the humid heat we got over here, it's like you get in your car and your shirt sticks to your back because you're the humidity, and it's like, oh God, it's gross out here. You know what I mean? Whereas the Phoenix heat, I was like, oh, it's fine. There's no doubt about it. It's really hot, and I wouldn't want to play like basketball out here. I wouldn't want to go for a run. But walking from the hotel to the convention, or just walking outside, I was like, it feels just really, really warm, but it's dry. Yeah. And so that was kind of my experience with that. But no, I didn't mind it because I was inside the whole time. And then DeBears follows up with $1.99 and says, fund that series. I'm here for it. It would be amazing. Yeah, it would be really cool. That would be awesome. Michael Dammit sends in $2, says, Dave McCrae, the new bearer of the blades. Fingers crossed. You never know. You never know. Sweet tea. The tea is sweet tonight. Sends in $10 and says, for the channel, my friends, be safe too. Thank you very much, Sweet Tea.
Thank you very much, Sweet Tea.
Really appreciate that. So, do you see any other? So yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, here comes one. Oh, that's right. Where Nomad has gone before. That's it. Says, I loved your film. Had a great time meeting all of you. Dave, were you heading to the photo of when I came up to you the night? Yes, I was that's exactly where I was going. Yes. When you handed me the DVD, yes, I was heading to the Robert photo op. That is correct. That is correct. And it was nice to meet you too as well. So thank you for coming up to say hello. I really, really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. Picked up the Blu-ray. Can't wait to watch it. Dave is Freddy Kill It. Yep, you will get to see that for sure. Thank you to everyone that has supported the project. You can still get in. If you support the project before like mid-August, you should still be able to get your name in the credits. So if any of you guys are excited about the film and you want to get your name involved, you can do that for just $5. Throw $5 towards the project. You get your name as a thank you in the credits. If you want to do more, by all means, you can do more, and you'll get a appropriate credit for the level that you contribute at. So yeah, Dylan's New Nightmare finishing funds, still trying to raise the last bit of funding for the post-production. So every little bit still helps.
That's it. That's it. Kane B says, is there any gore in the movie?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm a big gore hound. So I was.
Well, it depends on what your expectations of what gore, like Terrifier gore. No,
it's not like Terrifier, but there's definitely, I would say it's more gory than a lot of the Freddy movies. One part in particular, you know what I mean? Or at least it's on par. It's gorier than Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I can say that with certainty. I don't know that I can say it's gorier necessarily than 2, 3, 4, or 5. I think we'd be probably on a similar level as far as gore with those movies go. Yeah.
And again, it's a short film, guys, right? So you have to remember that it's,
it's not going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's not
it's a short film with a low budget. Like, I feel like we're setting ourselves up for a bit of a letdown with how we're talking about it. But let's just say that people liked what we had to show them. It didn't necessarily need the things that people are suggesting. Which is nice,
That's right.
Story-wise, as long as you're interested in what we're presenting, that's what matters ultimately.
That's right. The Field of Screams podcast says, Dave, does your Freddy wisecrack any? Sorry if you've already talked about that. Not really. I mean, there's a few things that I say that are just like a Cecil says, are just sort of very dark, that you might laugh at it because it's dark, but it's not, I'm not like, it's a boy, all that kind of stuff, or, no screaming while the bus is in motion. I mean, no, there's none of that garbage.
No.
There's none of that garbage.
As much as I would love it. Because I actually like that line a lot.
I know you do. Sinfully Twisted Reviews sends in $4.99 and says, I just became an associate producer on Dylan's New Nightmare. I can't wait to see the final product. The BTS photos are spectacular. Awesome job, guys.
Right on. Thank you.
Amazing.
Like we're gonna have to adjust some credits.
Amazing. Thank you, Sinfully Twisted Reviews.
Thank you very much, Sinfully Twisted. That's awesome.
That's very cool. That's very cool indeed.
Hell yeah, that's a big contribution.
By the way,
we appreciate that.
Speaking of associate producers, there's 2 associate producer spots left on the Billy 2 campaign. Just saying for anybody out there who, just letting you all know, there's only 2 associate producer spots left on the Billy 2 campaign.
Damn, right there. There it is. Thank you. That's
amazing.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. Love that, Sinfully Twisted. We'll get your name on there, lickety split.
Sinfully
and anyone
twisted.
else that wants to be associate producer, like you're going to be able to tell people, I was a producer on Dylan's New Nightmare. If they ask you further questions, that's on you. But nonetheless, you'll still be able to say you're a producer on Dylan's New Nightmare. And let me tell you, the people that came out and watched that were producers were very happy that they contributed at the level they did. So
right.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Sinfully Twisted. You rock.
For sure.
You rock. And thank you to everyone else. I do want to shout out to anyone that's interested, that's got a YouTube channel and stuff, that's interested to review the movie. Specifically, The Slaughtered Lamb. I'm excited to make sure you guys can review the film.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Go ahead.
So there's a number of YouTube channels that we're going to contact to see if they want to review the movie and things like that. So hopefully The Slaughtered Lamb will be game to do it. There's a couple of other people that I think are going to be game to do it. So those people should be, you should have a lot of fun reviews to look forward to along with the actual film's release towards the end of August. And when you finally see the film, hopefully you'll understand why we couldn't release it till the end of August, even though we did the advanced screening when we did in the early July.
Right. Right. Evil Alex says, Dave, saw you on stage in a clip in full outfit. Was that mask you had on from the film, or was that an easier full-on mask you just put on?
Nora's gonna jump across these lines and destroy you.
I think people just use the word as a sort of a universal thing. Okay, so just so we're clear for everybody, I at no point in time do I ever wear a mask. So this is full prosthetic makeup, just like, where are we here? Just like Robert. Wait, I'm going back. Hang on. There we are. There I am. This is full prosthetic makeup, just like Robert had done in the 80s. So this takes about four and a half, it depends, but about 4 to 5 hours to put on, about an hour to take off. This is in 6 pieces. So this is not all one piece. It looks like it's all one piece here because that's the magic of the effects artists, right? That's what they do. They apply this in, for me, I don't know how many pieces there were for Robert, but for me, there was about, I think, 6 pieces. So I'm just going to zoom this up so people can see this. So this is like towards the end, right? And this looks like a mask, right? It looks like all one piece. Well, that's the idea. That's the way it's supposed to look, right? But this is actually 6 pieces. So the ears, that's 2 pieces there. The ears are their own piece. The neck is its own piece. The head and the back of my head and the back of the neck is its own piece. The chin is its own piece. And then the face with the nose and the eyes and all that kind of stuff, that's its own piece as well. And then, of course, with Nora and Rachel there, they are gluing everything in, blending it all in with, the makeup and the shading and the effects and all that kind of stuff. And then it comes out looking like one piece. So just so people know, again, at no point in time am I ever wearing a mask. This isn't the silicone masks that you can get, which are great. There's nothing wrong with them. But they're limited in their motion and mobility in terms of the facial expressions and the mouth movements and things like that. So we wanted to do it old school. We didn't want it to look like a mask. We wanted it to look like it was, like Robert back in the day. So that's why we went this way. The sculpt. So I had my head cast in 2019. The sculpt was done by Mikey Rotella, Mikey Rots on Instagram. And he did the creature at the end of Smile. He did some work on the new Predator, on the new... right. I think that's right. Right. On the new Prey film, I believe. Yeah. And he's a legit working professional in the game in Hollywood. He
sculpted the Predator. Yeah.
He sculpted the Predator. He sculpted the, if
I'm not mistaken,
the creature at the end of Smile. He's legit. So he did this sculpt. Now, Nora could have done it, but she was very busy with a bunch of other things. So she reached out to her friend during the pandemic and said, listen, I need you to do this because I'm doing this over here. And he was like, no problem, let's do it. He's a huge Freddy fan, and he did it. And then Nora is the one that applies it all and does all the makeup and the shading and the coloring and all that kind of stuff. And she is phenomenal. So again, it is not a mask. It is foam latex, prosthetic makeup, just like Robert Englund back in the day, 4 to 5 hours to put on, 1 hour to take off. And so it was exactly what I wore in the movie. So when you saw that clip of me on stage, that is me in the prosthetic makeup. Yeah.
It was awesome to see everyone's reaction to you. And I appreciate everyone that's contributing right now. Thank you all very, very much. But it's crazy knowing that that's like a 6 to 7 piece prosthetic and it looks like just a mask. Like that's how talented Nora and Rachel are at just making it look like an entire single face.
That's it.
It's incredible to see all of these things come together for your actual film. I got to be honest with you. Like
that's it.
That's part of why the crowdfunding of it is awesome, because we can do things correctly. But I'm just so excited for the general public. Again, if the reaction of the advanced audience is any indication, the general public reaction is going to be really fucking cool to see play out.
100%. I'm going to show you a picture that it's the creepy one that you like, where I'm just in the chair.
Yeah.
I'm going to show. So here's an example. So this is from when we actually shot the movie. So this is not from the other day. This is when we shot the movie. But I'm in the makeup chair. I think Nora maybe, I don't know, she had to go to the bathroom or something, or she excused herself to get something or something like that. So I'm just kind of sitting there farting around on my phone, and this was taking me. But this will show you again. It's in the early stages of putting all this shit on, and you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So again, as you can see here, I'm going to zoom it up. Right? There's only one spot that's missing, and that's my chin. And that's because I think Nora had left this off so I could eat.
Right.
So I could actually, because it is a bit tricky to eat when you have everything on. So, but as you can see, there's a piece missing. Right. So again, it's old school Hollywood effects, man. It's you know, the real deal. And that's me right there. I know, it's funny, isn't it?
It's again, I feel like it's such a great unnerving image with you small in the frame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That here. I'll show that. Hang on. There we go.
It's just great. It's like the menace is under there, but it's not fully ready yet. You know what I mean?
That's it. That's it. So yeah, so that's what it is. So it's and listen, I mean, you know, I mean, half the battle of this, half the success of this is Nora and Rachel and everybody that has worked on this to help bring it to life. I mean, I wouldn't look as good as I did if it wasn't for all them. So, and Mikey Rotella as well. PJ, hey PJ, what's going on? Sends in $13.99, says, congrats Cecil, Dave, and everyone. Can't wait to see DNN. The 29 seconds tease has me hyped. Dave, may you be the James Jude Courtney of a new nightmare per Cecil's imaginings. That would be amazing. That'd be amazing. I'm totally down. My phone is on and willing to take that phone call. You never know. You never know. You never know. You never know. Who knows, right? We'll see. We'll see. Steve McCoy sends in $5, says, how do the digital downloads work for DNN and It's Me Billy 2? Are they available on Movies Anywhere? Or something different? Well, for us, I don't know how Cecil does it, but for us, we would just send everybody a link, like a Dropbox link or something like that. And then you click on the link and you're able to download the movie, the poster, the script, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Exactly the same. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of which, it reminds me I have to something else. But anyway, yes, that's how it would be done. And then Lou sends in $4.99 and says, hey, Dave, hope you were doing well. And I'm really bummed out that I didn't get to go to Mad Monster, Arizona to meet you. I hope you will be back soon. Yeah, if there's a reason for me to be there, I will be back. You know, if they want to bring me back, I'll be back. Mm-hmm. You know, I'll come on down. Let's meet this Dave McRae guy. This is Canuck.
It's not outside the realm of possibility that we'll start to get invited to other conventions and stuff once the film drops, you know?
It's entirely possible. Yeah, it's entirely possible. You never know. That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Start down that road because I
might have to start getting a banner or something, or people are going to just think I'm everybody's assistant.
You're going to need to. Or Miko Hughes.
Or Miko Hughes. Yeah, somebody did think that, actually. There was that it was really cute, actually. It was really funny. So I'm Miko left to, I don't know, went to the bathroom or to go get food or something. And I'm sitting there at the table. Now, again, right, I'm like, ill prepared for this, really, at the end of the day. But so this couple comes up. It was really cute. You could tell they felt embarrassed. And I was able to, noodle it and like, no, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. But they come up and they're like, oh man, I'm so glad to meet you. And I knew at that moment, I was like, this is not, you know what I mean? And he's like, dude, I'm a big fan of Kindergarten Cop. He's one of my favorite movies. So I said, oh, no, that's not me. That's not me. Now there's a picture of Miko. Now, mind you, he doesn't have the beard and the shop. There's a picture of him on the banner, and I said, no, that's not me. That's Mika. He'll be back in a few minutes. And you saw like the embarrassment just like fill his face. You know what I mean? And he just was like, I'm so sorry. And I said, no, don't worry about it. I would have done the same thing. I'm totally, man. I just totally brought him down, to base. just don't worry about it. Totally cool. It happens. It's funny. You know what I mean? We're all in this. Don't worry about it. Let's not worry about it. It's just hilarious. I mean, come on. I mean, you don't know, right? I mean, how could you possibly know? Even though I look nothing like him, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't, but I had my hat on and maybe he couldn't quite, you know what I mean? But I thought that was really funny. Yeah, that was really funny. So
absolutely.
But
yeah, I mean, overall, it was just a wonderful experience, and I'm glad everyone enjoyed it the way that they did. Again, we can't really talk about everything as far as the movie goes and everything and what parts they reacted to, but they enjoyed the movie enough that there was like 25 people or more that went to the photo op, and it's exciting. It's exciting that the time we put into this feels like it's going to make people happy instead of disappointing them, which is great, right?
Right.
That's
right.
what we want.
Exactly. So I wanted to ask you, what are there any things, what are your takeaways from the whole weekend? Like any funny stories, any things you want to add, moments, it's now in the rearview mirror. How are you feeling moving forward into August? The convention now, it's, you know what I mean? Like what are your thoughts?
I'm feeling good after that reception. I'm excited to finally dial in the last final things of the film and get it ready for release. And so everyone else can enjoy it the way that this crowd did, because, again, we didn't know. And so I had a lot of great moments this weekend. I mean, seeing you get to interact with Dick Warlock,
I know, that was fun.
Ron Sloan bringing over his extra junior hat and goggles
to
be able to take a fun.
And by the way, can I just say, I'd be remiss if I did. Ron Sloan and his wife are absolute sweethearts. So nice, so 100%. Professional, just wonderful human beings. Absolutely fantastic.
100%. Yeah. If you ever make a production and you need someone with talent and an unbelievable amount of grace and anything along those lines, then Ron Sloan is the person you need to ask, because he was awesome. He contributed in so many different ways. Hell, even his wife even got us one of our hotel rooms at a much discounted price, and they're just awesome people. So we had a really great group of people for this event, and the Mad Monster got good reports back from it and everything, so that's great. So
and by the way, sorry, I just wanted to say that if anybody in the chat room or watches this afterwards, if you were there on Friday night and you have a YouTube channel and you just you love the movie and hopefully you love the movie, but I'm just saying, feel free to upload a review. Keep it spoiler free, obviously, but feel free to get it out there, get the so it hits the algorithms, it hits the SEO, so when people Google it or whatever it is, right, the more people that we can get out there kind of talking about it, creating a buzz, talk about it on Reddit, or something like that. I'm not on Reddit, so I don't have an account, but talk about it there, create a bit of a buzz. It helps go a long way. Just want to get that out there. Anyway,
no, 100%. Yeah, anything along those lines is a big help, and thank you to anyone that's willing to help us with that, because we're trying to get the information out there. We've gotten a couple of reviews and they're very positive, so if we have a few more out there that are also positive, then fantastic. So actually, Frank Riker, if you don't mind,
Frank the Tank.
$5.
Thank you, Frank.
Dave and Cecil, can you tell us some of the best cosplayers you saw and maybe the worst? So there was one that was getting a lot of attention that I didn't fully remember what it was from, but it was a girl in a wheelchair that had her head as a cake, right? What movie was that from, Dave?
That would have been A Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
No, it wasn't Nightmare on Elm Street 5, because it was the dude with
but it reminded me of Elm Street 5 and the eating scene.
That's fair.
Yeah, she wasn't in a wheelchair. No, she wasn't in a wheelchair.
It was a girl with a birthday cake on her head.
It wasn't from that. I just meant it reminded me of that. Yeah.
And she was being pushed by a dude in almost Return of the Living Dead zombie garb.
Yeah,
You know, so that was a great cosplay. There was a lot of Megans that was really cute to see.
Yep.
There was one of the ones that I thought was most entertaining was there was a wonderful Nandor and crew from What We Do in the Shadows. That was really fun to see because they went all out with the costumes and they did a wonderful job. So yeah, I mean, those are just some of the few that I liked. What about you, Dave? Which ones did you notice?
Well, I noticed who was the one. He was on stilts.
Creep Show is what I was describing.
The big creature on stilts. What was?
I don't know what that was, but it was.
I don't know. It was really cool.
Cool, yeah.
And then there was a Freddy New Nightmare cosplayer.
Yes, indeed. Full Freddy with the coat and everything.
Yeah, that came to the table and fist bumped me, you know, and so that was obviously it was a mask he had on and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But as far as cosplaying goes, it does the trick for, you know, for sure. He looked good. And then there was obviously, no horror convention would be complete without, you know, your 383,000 Michael Myers cosplayers.
Yep.
And of different shapes and sizes and heights, all walking the floor. And so, but that's an easy costume to do. There was a few Jasons as well, which were really cool. Yeah, I mean, they were always cool. Didn't see as many Freddys as I thought we would, but being that Robert was going to be there.
We did see a particular cosplay Freddy that happened to be the Freddy that was going to be Freddy in our film when things first started out.
That's right.
But one day I wisened up and was like, this isn't a good idea. We need someone that's got passion for the role that could kill it, and that's how I knew you would be a much better fit for Freddy. And thank God we made that call because it's I don't think we would have gotten nearly the results that we did had we stayed with our original choice on that.
I don't know the individual, but based on what I've seen, what I saw at the convention, I would agree that I think it's, you know, there's a difference between a cosplayer and an actor.
Yes.
And so, and there's a big difference, not just a difference, a huge difference. So, you know, lots of people can cosplay and look the part, but not necessarily embody the role. So, but yeah.
Sinister Creation says there was a retirement sanitarium Michael Myers with a walker that had me laughing.
Really? I didn't see that.
I never saw that one. Yeah.
That's funny. I really liked the Samara in the well, the ring.
Yes.
The one, that one was cute.
Yeah, her dad was pushing her and basically like they made the well for her to sit in and pop out of that he put on basically a furniture dolly that he was just wheeling through the entire event, and she was popping out at people, and it was great. It was a lot of fun.
I loved the it's not a cosplay, but it's the couple that had like their cat in a stroller or something, or like in a little there was a cat that was just chilling. Like a cat was just chilling in like this not a stroller, but that kind of a thing or whatever.
Sure.
And the cat was just there, and people were like, "Oh, you know," and he's just like, I'm like, "Fuck, how does my cat would be fucking freaking out."
Well, there's one dude that was there. He's there every year. He is a double amputee, and he dresses as Chucky every year. And he just puts shoes on the end of his legs.
Oh, that's so right good. Here. I didn't see him.
Yeah, he does it every year, and he's really cool. So
there was also
that was a fun one as well.
A little girl who was riding the bike. She was saw. You know she had the
Billy.
Saw. Yeah, the Billy. Yeah, she was the Billy doll. Yeah, and she was adorable. My God, was she cute? She was just riding this little tricycle. She couldn't have been any older than like, I don't know, 7 or something like that. She was so cute.
Yeah, it's a really fun convention, to be honest. Like,
I was
wish
impressed.
More people went to it.
Yeah.
It's big too, right? It's not small.
No, it's not. No, it's not small. It's a you know, it's not tiny. I mean, it's a legit, like there were a lot of people there. You know, there were a lot of people there, a lot of vendors there. I didn't get it. I didn't walk around and pick anything up or, you know, see anything, but there was definitely a lot of stuff to go and see for sure.
Davey Conway says, sorry late to the show, fellas. Love the screening of DNN. Dave, it was very cool to meet you and see you in all of your Freddy glory. So that's great.
Oh, that's Davey Deathray, I think. Davey Conway.
Oh, that is Davey Deathray. Okay,
I think
cool.
so. Yes, I think it is, if I'm not
that's
mistaken.
the case, thank you for doing that review, Davey. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it was very nice meeting you as well, man. Very nice meeting you as well, and really appreciate that. Obviously, the support you've given to It's Me Billy Chapter 2 as well. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it was so cool to be, because again, I don't know anybody's faces, right? So it was nice to have people come up and then I can put a face to, a screen name, which was really great. So yeah, just awesome to meet you for sure. For sure.
What up, Movies and Beyond? Good to see you. It was good to see you at the event as well. Thank you for coming.
Lee the Machine Bowers says, Dave, you as Freddy and with Sean looked terrified in that pic of you and Sean Clark. Yeah, Sean's great. Sean's so much fun. He's just, he's got so many stories. And of course, he reps some of the biggest names in horror for, conventions. So, he's just a whirlwind of experience and stories and class as well. He's very classy, very professional, but fun at the same time, and, can let loose and just have fun. I love the guy. I think he's great. And it was great to see him there, because I haven't seen him in person since the 40th, the Halloween 40th. We've talked on the phone obviously since, but I haven't seen him in person in a long time. So it was great. No, he's awesome. And yeah, we had like 2 or 3 pictures taken. And then that was the one that he said, no, you have to post that one, because I look like I shit my pants. So I was like, okay, done.
Holly asked, did you guys do any shopping at the convention? Not this year. I didn't really see a lot that was tickling my fancy this year. So I just decided to save the money. But Field of Screams, I feel very stupid for asking. That was Cecil. But is Cecil connected to the Horror Show channel account, or is that just a mod? No, that's me. Yep.
Well, Cecil's got a staff of about 86.
That's me.
So sometimes it's Cecil, sometimes it's Glenn or Mark or Julie or Carol or
Robert. Sometimes will jump on there from the Horror Show channel. But yeah, no, if you see the Horror Show channel, that's usually me. Yeah. Did Vince show anything from Never Hike Alone 2? We did show the first 5 minutes, his prologue that he released on YouTube a couple months ago. So It's nothing that you haven't seen before, but man, did it play for the audience, and did it get them set up for Dylan's New Nightmare in a very good way.
Yeah, for sure. Indeed it did.
Who is behind the score for DNN? Can't wait to listen. Best of luck, fellas. Thank you, Chester. That is Ryan Perez Dapel. He did a wonderful job with the score, so much so that I've already separated it into a separate track so that I could add it to YouTube as an unlisted thing, so that we could listen to it whenever we want, because it's a really awesome score. It's a fun time. It's a good thing to listen to in the background as you edit or play games or anything along those lines. So I'm excited for everyone to get their hands on that too. There's a specific song in the soundtrack that got a lot of attention during the screening, or at least after the screening. So I'm hoping that will help move some of the vinyls that we're going to be offering. But yeah, we have some cool music involved with the project. And if you're interested at all, then make sure you keep your eyes peeled to the Dylan's New Nightmare official Instagram account and my Twitter account.
Indeed. Lee follows up and says, Dave, was it uncomfortable in the makeup? It wasn't, Lee. You know that? It actually wasn't. I've yet to have an uncomfortable experience in the makeup. That doesn't mean it won't happen. The most uncomfortable part is not applying it, it's taking it off. It's all the alcohol they have to use to take off the glue, because they glue it to your face, just like they did with Robert back in the day. And one of the reasons why the makeup became less and less impressive as the films went on is because Robert didn't want to sit in the makeup chair for as long. So that's why you'll see, that's why. And they glue everything to your face. So the taking the makeup off is probably the most it's not terrible, but it would be the most uncomfortable. But having it applied and being in it, I've been in it 4 times now, and I've been in it for probably a total of, I don't know, 40, 45 hours, and I've yet to have any issues. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good stuff. All right, let's see here. Where are we sitting at? We're sitting at, I want to go another 10 minutes, take this thing to 2.5 hours.
Sure.
That's a good
Good round number.
good round number.
What other questions do y'all have? Yeah, I mean, so let's I wonder what other reactions we can.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, just lots of people very positive about it. Miko, I think, felt great afterwards too.
Indeed, he did. Yes.
Felt relieved. Miko, of course, was just the gem class act that he is. He was just a fun guy to be around all weekend. Yeah, I mean, I think, trying to think.
We've covered a lot of what's happened.
We have.
Yeah, it's just nice that so many people ended up being on board with what we presented. A lot more than I would have necessarily thought, just on a general level. I would think there'd be more haters than we got, because that there wasn't much of that at all, which was great. In fact, I didn't hear any negative responses. That's not to say that there wasn't anyone that didn't like it. No, I just think that no one was verbal about it if they didn't. That's for sure.
Right, exactly. There he is. There's my Godzilla brother from another mother, Edward Nito. I hope the drive back to San Diego with your brother was great. He says he sends in $20, very generous super chat. Thank you, Edward. Says, such a cool experience to meet you guys. I left the event feeling so inspired from the movie and talking with other artists. So cool to talk some Godzilla with Dave too. It would be cool to see It's Me Billy 2 in a similar setting. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. And who knows? I mean, next year's the 50th anniversary of Black Christmas. I mean, you never know. Maybe, obviously, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we would have the movie ready for July for a Mad Monsters situation, but an early screening. I don't know. But if that's the case, we'd probably want to package both movies together and just show the whole thing. You know what I mean? Make it like a feature, like a late night, midnight crazy screening feature of It's Me, Billy or something. You never know. We'll cross that bridge. But I do agree with you. It would be cool to see it in that setting. Chapter 1 was submitted to a few festivals, but there were festivals that we couldn't attend. So we weren't there. And it was during COVID and things like that. So it was a bit tricky and whatnot. But yeah, it was great to meet you too, man. And thank you so much for stopping by and saying hi. It's just awesome. Just awesome.
Absolutely is. Frank Riker asks, Cecil, would you use Dave for your Megan fan film? Only if Dave learns the Megan dance.
Well, Megan, she was there. She
was actually there. Yeah, she did the dance in front of everyone for her Q&A.
She did, and she's repped by Sean Clark. So I'll just have to send Sean a message and just be like, hey, listen, I need Megan to teach me the moves, and so I can become the new Megan. Weird. By the way, Edward, what did you think of maybe he's asking about here. No, he's not. Yeah. Edward, what did you think of the new the Godzilla -0 trailer?
Oh, that was cool. That was a good trailer.
Wow.
Yeah, Godzilla looks pretty fucking ominous there.
Bad. I tell you, man, Toho, man, they're giving Hollywood a little run for their money here. Michael Dammit sends in $5. Says, Dave, if you had your choice, would you want to be involved in a project that had the full rights to Nightmare or Black Christmas? Well, it depends. I think if I had my choice, I can say both. But in what capacity, right? Are you saying do you want to be Freddy in Nightmare, or do you want to direct, or do you want? Well, here's the thing. We're about to do It's Me, Billy Chapter 2, and you can package Billy 1 and 2 together and just, that would be my offer to the rights holders. Just take this and make it official. That's all you need to do, really, at the end of the day. I mean, Olivia Hussey's in it. Why would we need to reshoot this? Right. Right. I mean, it's already there when you package it together. So, you know what I mean? I think that's what I would say. Because I don't think there's any need to redo it, you know, because I don't think you can do it. I don't think they could do it better.
Yeah.
You know, like I just don't, you know, unless it's a complete remake with other actors with something else, then I would probably choose the Freddy because I've done Black Christmas. I mean, how much, I mean, I've done it. We got Lynn Griffin involved. We got Olivia Hussey involved. I mean, what am I going to, when is that ever going to happen? Like, it's just, do you know what I mean? So it's more like it's already done. Well, it's not done yet, but it will be soon. And that is the Black Christmas dream. Right. It's kind of like, I would imagine it would be like asking, well, maybe that's a bit different. But yeah, I don't think for me, I will have already accomplished the Black Christmas dream, if you think about it. Right. So in that context, I'd probably be like, well, I've done that. So I'll just take that and, you know, make it official, you know, official, because you can, and I'll just do Freddy, you know, or something like that. That's probably what would end up happening. Because I almost feel it would be redundant to do It's Me, Billy 1 and 2 and then do a completely separate official Black Christmas movie. Right. It feels kind of like we can't really, you know, I don't know. That feels kind of like.
It'd be a little odd.
It'd be like, I'm not going to get any more official than what I'm doing. You know, like, I mean, from a certain point of view, but I get the question. Edwardito, $10. Thank you, buddy. Says, oh yeah, my wife says, thank you for the signed photo, man. I hope to stay at the hotel next year. Very cool. Well, shout out to your wife. Yeah, no problem at all, man. I'm just so happy that I was able to meet you and your brother, of course, and your brother too. Can't forget your brother. So yeah, thank you, Edward. Really appreciate that. And then Harry Hagen, my man, Harry Hagen says, what do you guys think about actors like Jennifer Aniston, Matthew McConaughey, and Patricia Arquette, etc., trying to bury their horror roots? Cecil, what do you think about?
I think I think that I don't think they're ever trying to bury their horror roots. Yeah, I think a lot of them come back to it with a certain amount of pride, actually. And while for a while they may not lean on that side of their resume, I think ultimately they'll come back to it if it helped them. Like, I'll bet Matthew McConaughey would say, oh, that was a great time doing that movie. Like, it wasn't a great movie, but it was a great time. Right. You know, that kind of thing. And I don't think that they're embarrassed about what they did necessarily. Sure. Just that it's not their bread and butter. So it's not what they focus on. Right. Exactly. And yeah, I mean, listen, are there people that might be embarrassed by their horror roots? Sure. But I never get that impression necessarily, that they're trying to shy away from it, you know, but I think it comes down to this, right? These are actors, and you know, a lot of the times actors will get involved in horror movies, not because they love horror movies. Right? It's not because they love horror movies in the same ways that we love horror movies. Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't love horror movies. Right. She doesn't care about horror movies. She's said that. She doesn't watch Halloween like we do. She probably hasn't seen the original Halloween in 40 years, right? She doesn't sit down and watch them. I mean, she'll watch them at the premieres and things like that, but it's not like she's sitting down every Halloween watching Halloween, you know what I mean? Or watching horror movies. She has said, she's made it very clear that she is petrified of them. She doesn't like them. She never has, right? But a lot of actors, like a lot of filmmakers, will get their start in horror because it's cheap, it's easy. They can, you know, you can make them for cheap. They can make lots of money. They're good gateway projects for up and coming actors and filmmakers and all that kind of stuff. And there are actors and are filmmakers that just love the genre and that's all they want to do. But there are also actors and filmmakers that they don't just want to do that. They're not gigantic. They don't have anything against the genre, but they're not like living and breathing it all the time every day. They want to do other things. They want to act in dramas. They want to act in comedies. They want to, you know, diversify their portfolios and their reach and to do different things. They're actors. They want to be tested. They don't want to come stale. So I think that there's some actors that will just not shy away from it, but just don't care about it. Like we approach, oh my God, you were in this. Like, oh my God, Kevin Bacon, Friday 13th Part 1. Woo! And he's just like, yeah, I don't care. Like he doesn't care in the same ways. Do you know what I mean? He's just like, he doesn't,
It's just, to him, it was a job 50 years, 40 years ago. He doesn't like hide from it, but he doesn't care about it. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't, if somebody asked him about it in an interview, he'd probably answer it. Oh yeah, no, I did that. It was one of my first, but he doesn't care in the same ways, which is probably why he hasn't done another horror movie since They, Them, or I guess Hollow Man. I mean, he's done thriller type stuff, but I mean, like a slasher, you know what I'm saying? Right. Stir of Echoes was great too. But it's just, I think that's what, it's like Paul Rudd. I don't necessarily think Paul Rudd hates Halloween 6 or is completely embarrassed by it. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of that. I don't know. I just don't think he gives a fuck, because he's not a horror. He doesn't see himself as a horror actor. It's not why he got into the business. So, but here comes Halloween 6. I'll do it. And then there's all these crazy fans. Oh my God, Paul Rudd, Tommy Doyle, Paul Rudd. And he's just like, I don't know how to respond to this. I don't know what to, yeah. Hey guys, hey, what's going on? Cool. And, I think that's, in large part, I think that's kind of where it comes. It's like Bob Clark, the director of Black Christmas. Bob Clark said to John Carpenter, he said, I didn't get into this business to just do horror movies. He did like a doll movie or something early on in his career. I forget the name of it. He did Black Christmas. He did something else. And he didn't want to just do horror movies, which is why he went off and did Porky's and, A Christmas Story and, all that, because he wanted to do other things. And I think actors are like that too. But we sometimes forget that because the role means so much to us. Oh my God. And they're us horror fans. When we see Paul Rudd, we see Tommy Doyle, right? Because we're horror fans. But that's not what he sees. And that's not what other people see. And I think we sometimes forget that. It's maybe the argument's a little more nuanced, but I think that's part of it. Is I don't think these actors are shying away. Like, I don't think Aniston is necessarily embarrassed of Leprechaun. She just doesn't give a shit. Right. You know what I mean?
She's moved well past it.
She's moved well past it. You know what I mean? So that's what I think. Agreed. Anyway.
Agreed.
Yeah. And there I am rambling and more super chats given. We got Bernie Gumbano. Is that how I say that? Gumbano. Bernie Gumbano sends in $4.99. Oh, hey, Gum.
He literally puts
Gumbano.
it in the freaking
and I didn't
comment.
even see it. He literally is the first thing. Gumbano. Amazing.
All right, next up we got Bernie Gumbano.
We got Bernie.
What do we got, Bernie?
What do you got, Bernie Gumbano? Thank you, Bernie. Appreciate that, man. Can't wait to watch Dylan's New Nightmare. Thank you for making this. And Cecil, you are the man. Boop. Cheers. Is this supposed to be boop or boo?
I'll take it. I don't know. I'll
boop?
take it either way.
I'll take it. Boop.
I'll take a boop.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Chris Snyder sends in $5, says, what is your best experience at a convention and your worst? Well, I'll let Cecil answer first because I haven't been to too many conventions in my life. So I'll have to sit here and think for a moment. Cecil.
I mean, my best experience at a convention has to be the premiere. There's just, it's something I've worked for so long, and the reaction is well above what we would have hoped. So yeah, the Dylan's New Nightmare premiere is definitely my best moment. Worst moment. Oh geez, I haven't really had a lot of bad moments. I guess there was that wasn't even really my moment though, but at one point, one of my close friends, Marcia, who was a host on the channel for a while before she moved across the country, still hosts the channel. We just don't have her on as much because, life and stuff. But yeah, Marcia had an interaction with Lori Petty at Mad Monster one year, and Lori just was not kind to her at all. And Marcia approached her as like the biggest fan. So it was sad to see my closest friend have the interaction that she wanted for years with Lori Petty and then have it go down the way that it did. Right. So that's probably what I would say is like the bummer moment for me.
I would say that my best moment would be this past weekend. I mean, it's, I don't know how you can top that. I don't have enough convention experience to, to be able to dive deep into my files of, conventions. But I would say this past weekend was probably the best because it was from a different perspective. I wasn't just there as a patron, not a patron, but I was there as a guest, essentially, as opposed to just being part of the, the public. So to experience the con from that perspective was new. And so it was really cool. And of course I'm there as Freddy fucking Krueger in Dylan's New Nightmare with Miko Hughes and the premiere and the panel. And then, people coming up wanting their photo take. It was a very interesting experience, and so I would say that that's up there. The Halloween 40th is up there too. That was a lot of fun, meeting all sorts of people that also watched the channel.
You had a line then too, just for a different reason.
I did. Yes, I did. That was hilarious, actually. Yeah, I should have had my own table. I was in the corner I was standing beside Sean Clark because I was talking to him, and then I had like 7 or 8 people in this line waiting to speak to me. It was really funny. And you were one of them, actually, which is how we met, which is really funny. But worst, and of course, meeting Nick Castle would be, one of my best, and that was at Fan Expo here in Toronto. But I've only been to three different conventions in my life. I've been to now Mad Monster, Arizona. I've been to the Halloween convention, which isn't like a regular convention. That's like, an anniversary type thing. And then Fan Expo is a regular one here in Toronto every year. It's one of the largest in North America. I think it's like the 3rd largest or something like that. Maybe even maybe second. I'm not sure. Not as big as Comic-Con, but it still gets like, 250,000 people over the 3 days or something. It's huge. And it takes place at the Metro Toronto Convention Center, which is huge. And it's like different floors and different buildings, and it's just gigantic. It's not a horror convention. It's like a Comic-Con, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so, that's where I went and I met Nick Castle in 2015. And so I've been there a few times, but nothing like, there isn't anything that bad that's happened. I don't usually when I go, I'm not usually going to meet anybody. I'm usually going to shop, people watch, pick up hoodies, t-shirts, trinkets, doodads,
Blue
stuff.
Jay hats.
Yeah, Blue Jay hats. Yeah, shit I don't need. But Nick Castle was an exception because it was Nick Castle. It was the OG Michael Myers. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? So, but I haven't really. I'm trying to think. Is anybody? Oh, I met Malcolm McDowell, but that was really cool. Got an autograph for myself and for my lady. And but other than that, I don't think I walked around the Halloween convention meeting different Halloween alum, but I didn't get their autographs. I was just doing it for, my YouTube channel. Sure. So I'm not I don't know if it's because, again, I have a different perspective of the entertainment and the media industry growing up in it, and then now being a part of it. It takes a lot for me to get like starstruck or like, oh my God, I want to meet that person. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange, but the point I'm making by saying that is I haven't met a lot of celebrities where it would give me, where there's an opportunity to have like a bad experience with one. I've yet to have that, thank goodness. But who knows? It could still happen. and I can tell you though, it did not happen with Tom Atkins and Dick Warlock. They are the fucking men. I fucking love those two dudes. They were so awesome. Humble and so awesome and so amazing.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a wonderful weekend. All in all, it was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome. And I hope there's a little 30-second clip on my channel right now of me introducing, not introducing, but welcoming Mad Monster Arizona to the Dylan's New Nightmare premiere. I'm in full Freddy makeup and outfit. And when you watch that 30 seconds, you'll get a good sense of what I bring to the table with Freddy Krueger. And
indeed.
So hopefully people like it, enjoy it. I think we're going to maybe change quite a few minds. I think we're going to change a few minds here. So
I think there's going to be a couple of Fred heads that don't leave Robert in the dust, but they might become a little bit of Dave heads. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, look, as I said at the beginning, it's psychological. It's obviously, yes, technically, like literally, obviously, somebody is replacing Robert, because he's no longer doing it. So there is a replacement in the literal sense. But psychologically, you can't look at it. It's not that he's being replaced because he's washed up, stinks, and we don't love him anymore. It has nothing to do with that, right? You know what I mean? It's not that kind of a replacement, So I think if diehard Fred heads and horror fans start to wrap their mind around the fact that it's not about replacing him in that way, it's about honoring him, so the legacy can live on, so his legacy can live on. I mean, it will always live on, but I'm just saying his legacy will continue to live on and breathe new life into the series. And if the right actor is there to do it, then that's what, and who else would approve of that? I don't know if Robert would approve of me. We've yet to know, but I'm just saying, who else would approve with that idea, that notion, that statement? It's Robert Englund himself.
Yeah.
It's Robert Englund himself. 100%. 100%.
Yep.
So, that's what it's about.
People will see. And thank you for all the work that you did on the project, because I think it only helped it get to the point that it's at, where all these people are very happy, and then a whole bigger group of people are very excited to see what you bring to it. So
yeah,
it's pretty freaking awesome.
It was my pleasure, man. Thank you so much for believing in me, giving me the opportunity and to play in that sandbox. And like I said, you never know who's watching, and you never know where it's going to go. And just enjoy the ride and see where it goes.
That's the plan.
That's all we can do.
Plan. So thank you very much for having me on, though. Again, I know we were just on before the event, but I was glad
we had to have the debrief.
We had to debrief. Exactly.
We had to debrief. All right, folks, listen, thanks to everybody who has tuned in. Thank you, of course, to my moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, and Andrew Stevens. Thank you very much for doing what you guys do. Thank you to all the support, of course, via the super chats that came in today, and to everybody that came up at the convention and said hello. Love you guys. Really appreciate your support. It was awesome to meet you. You guys are amazing as well. And I will be back soon, because I've been kind of off the channel for a little bit. Maybe I'll do a live stream tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Or Friday or something. I don't know. We'll see. I want to kind of get back into the swing of things. Maybe kind of get back with an all Q&A or something to get my feet wet. Because I'm like, what's out right now? What's playing? What's going on? I still haven't seen Indiana Jones yet. Don't worry, I will. But I still haven't seen him yet. But yeah, I will be back. So, hey, Bernie Gumbano.
There you go.
Sends in $4.99, gets one at the buzzer, and says, just call me Bernie. But yeah, assuming DNN does well, and it will, is there anything you can tease what's to come in the future? Thanks again. Well, that's actually a great buzzer beater question there, Cecil.
Well, based on a conversation that may have been had just this very weekend, if we get to tell the continuing story that we want, there may be a pretty cool Nightmare 2 homage scene that we lead things off with, that I think everyone will be pretty happy with.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about.
I remember now what you're talking about. And yeah, we were having a lot of fun with that. That was I would love to be Freddy in that scene. I would love to be Freddy in that scene.
We have a few ways for it to happen now. So if everyone responds to the movie like we hope, we have some cool ideas lined up for future parts, for sure. For sure. But yeah, thanks everybody. Really appreciate you tuning in. Again, that little 30-second clip of me on stage is on my channel. If you haven't checked it out right now, check it out and share it. Check it out, share it, post it on pages or Reddit or wherever. I don't know. I the more people that can see that and get people excited about the potentiality of what to expect, the better. I'm anticipating that music, buddy.
What music? Oh, you want this music?
Everyone wants it.
That's the intro music. That's not the
extra music. I know, everyone
music.
still wants it. They still want it.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. One more time. We appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be back, like maybe even tomorrow for a Q&A. I don't know, because I got to get back into the swing of things here and start talking stuff and give you guys updates and everything. And yeah, it's good shit. All right. Da 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 da. Cecil and I will talk to you all soon. Goodbye.